Then I went to Douluo. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 476, Preparing to go to Xingdao. Although Master Zhuan said that the eliminated core disciples could leave, no one left on their own initiative. The core disciples who were eliminated before they had time to show their strength were full of resentment. They all looked at Master Zhuan without saying a word, obviously wanting an explanation. Elder Zhuan snorted, took a bite of the chicken leg in his hand, and said, "Are you not convinced? If you are not convinced in the future, I hope you can show your strength. Do you think that my selection method for this big fight is unfair, so that many of you cannot display your abilities and lose inexplicably?" Looking at the silent core disciples, Elder Zhuan curled his lips and said, "The fight is against each of you. If you are on the battlefield, can you decide the number of enemies and the situation you are about to face? You can't. At the very least, this battle puts you all at the same starting point, rather than in desperate situations. This seemingly unfair fight is actually the best way to test your comprehensive strength. In this short battle, I saw your ability to cooperate, your personal strength, and even your character. And there is no doubt that the result I got in the end is that most of you are unqualified." As soon as he said this, a senior core disciple spoke up unconvincedly, pointing at Yun's, who was standing silently over there, and said, "What about him? I didn't notice him at all in the previous battles. Has he ever shown any strength? Also, didn't we agree that only 7 people would be selected in the end? Then what about this extra guy? Why hasn't he been eliminated?" Zhuan Lao glanced at him. Although he didn't do anything, he still exuded a fierce aura, which made the core disciple couldn't help but step back half a step. Zhuan Lao said, "Why? Just because he stood at the end of the field, just because he defeated an elite soul emperor in the inner courtyard when he was a freshman, and just because he has now cultivated to level 40, and his cultivation is higher than you, a senior. Tell me, why?" When hearing Zhuan Lao's first sentence, the core disciple was still a little unconvinced, but then, Zhuan Lao's next 2 sentences made him look at Yun's in shock. Not only him, but the others present also immediately cast shocked eyes at Yun's. The core disciple was incredulous. How is it possible? A second-year soul master? Even if he really has such a high level of cultivation, how can he defeat the soul emperor senior from the inner courtyard? He wanted to continue to say something, but suddenly got stuck. Because at this moment, he suddenly remembered that there seemed to be a soul fighting competition between the outer courtyard disciples and the inner courtyard seniors last year. And the result of that game was that the soul emperor senior was instantly killed. He was stuck there, and the other core disciples also remembered the soul fighting competition last year, and their eyes became strange when looking at Yun's. Especially Bibai and the other 7 people standing on the other side. So what? Maybe he won by luck, the core disciple muttered in a low voice, obviously still a little unconvinced. Zhuan Lao smiled, then his expression became serious, and he shouted, "Yan Shao's, Xian Liner." His full-bodied shout spread far away and echoed in the entire soul fighting field. The next second, 2 figures appeared in front of Zhuan Lao. The 2 people were none other than Yan Shao's, the dean of the spirit department, and Xian Liner, the dean of the soul guidance department. As soon as they appeared, they bowed respectfully to Elder Zhuan and called out, "Elder Zhuan." Although most of the core disciples present had never seen Xian Liner, it was impossible for them not to know Yan Shao's, the dean of the spirit department. And now, Yan Shao's, the dean of the spirit department of Shrek Academy, who was a respected figure in the entire Douluo continent, actually bowed to a man who held a wine jug in his left hand and a chicken drumstick in his right hand. So, undoubtedly, this sloppy drunkard in the eyes of most core disciples naturally had a higher status than Yan Shao's, and was the predecessor of Yan Shao's and the woman next to him. People of this level even appeared in Shrek Academy, so what exactly did this mean? The core disciples of Shrek could understand without thinking too much. Elder Zhuan waited for Yan Shao's and Xian Liner to straighten up again before continuing. "Now, the 2 of you will lead Yun's to the Xingdao Great Forest to get his 4th soul ring for him." Yan Shao's and Xian Liner nodded at the same time. Yes. After that, the 2 walked to Yun's and smiled at him friendly. Yun's was still confused, but he subconsciously bowed to the 2 and said, "Hello, deans." Xian Liner looked at Yun's in surprise. After all, they had never seen him before, So how did Dai Yuns know that she was the dean? Yan Xiao smiled at Dai Yuns again and said, "Hello to you too, classmate Dai Yuns. We can set off for the starred-out Great Forest in a while." Dai Yuns didn't know what else to say at this time, so he thanked the two deans first. "Thank you very much, both deans. It is my honor to have your help," Xianliner said at this time. "Don't be too happy too soon. Although Master Zhuan asked us to follow you to the starred-out Great Forest, we won't be with you all the time. You still have to get your fourth soul ring by yourself. He and I will only save you when your life is threatened." Yan Xiao smiled and nodded, and said, "That's right. According to Master Zhuan, this is a real test for you. The previous game was just a little test of you." As a result, Master Zhuan didn't find out anything. Hearing Yan Xiao's mention this, Dai Yuns also asked hesitantly, "Two deans, can I know why I was left behind by Master Zhuan? Didn't you say before that only 7 core disciples could win? They have all continued the tradition for 10,000 years. It's impossible for them to suddenly become the Shrek 8 monsters because of him. If he doesn't start directly from the red timeline branch, will he still be alive?" Yan Xiao's and Xianliner looked at each other first, and then looked at Master Zhuan at the same time. Yan Xiao smiled and said, "We just obeyed the arrangement and didn't know." Xianliner agreed and nodded slightly. "Dai Yuns, I always feel that you are hiding something from me." After a long time, he sighed in his heart, watching Master Zhuan citing classics, speaking eloquently, and convincing all the core disciples with every word, and then they all left willingly. At this time, Yan Xiao's voice rang again, "Let's go too." Coincidentally, Master Zhuan also looked at them. Dai Yun saw Yan Xiao's nod to Zhuan Lao and then put his hand on his shoulder. The next moment, he took Dai Yun's up into the sky. And Xianliner followed closely behind. After watching the 3 people leave, Zhuan Lao also looked at the 7 people next to him, paused, and said, "Do you know how the Shrek 7 devils were born? There will be only 1 chapter in the last 3 days of this month. Because the author has a little obsessive-compulsive disorder, he wants to achieve a 1,000,000-word achievement at the beginning of the month, and he also wants the book to show 1,000,000 words, Greek letter omega." The author is saving the manuscript, and will update more on September 1. See you tomorrow. Thanks to the friends who voted for me. Love you. Chapter 477, Star Forest, Inner Area. The Great Star Forest. This ancient forest is still full of vitality. Going a little deeper, the bright sunlight outside begins to become sparse and blocked by lush green leaves. Finally, only a few thin beams of light are left in the forest, which looks like a dream. Dai Yuns has been in the Great Star Forest for a night. It is noon of the second day. Yan Xiao's and Xianliner, the 2 deans of Shrek Academy, disappeared when they sent Dai Yuns to the entrance of the Great Star Forest. Dai Yuns has no way to sense the traces of these 2 people. The gap in cultivation is too huge. From yesterday afternoon when he entered the Great Star Forest until now, Dai Yuns has relied on himself. The 4th soul ring that Dai Yuns is going to obtain now will be his first 10,000-year soul ring. In addition, the spiritual attribute soul beasts are rare, so after Dai Yuns entered the starred-out Great Forest, he chose to go deeper. Now, he should be in the middle part of the mixed area. In this place, the 10,000-year soul beasts will be more active, and he is more likely to encounter spiritual attribute soul beasts. At this time, Dai Yuns sat cross-legged on the thick branches of a big tree. While taking a short rest, he was also restoring his soul power to ensure that he could maintain a good state at any time to explore in the starred-out Great Forest. Along the way, he also encountered many soul beasts, but with the soul skill of spiritual detection, he also avoided those troubles and walked to the current position safely. In addition to his special ability, even if the terrain in the starred-out Great Forest is a bit complicated, it will not cost him much effort. After meditating for half an hour, he felt that his energy had recovered almost, so he jumped off the tree, identified the direction inside the starred-out Great Forest, and prepared to continue on his way. If it was just a mixed area, there was still a great chance that it would not meet his requirements. So from the beginning, his destination was the inner area of the Xingdao Great Forest, where a large number of high-level 10,000-year soul beasts were active. Even now, it was possible to accidentally encounter a 100,000-year soul beast that was out for a stroll. After releasing the Spirit Eye's martial soul and opening the mental detection, Dai Yuns ran, and at the same time, he continued to use the teleportation ability of space. Although each teleportation was only 5 meters, after the frequency was high, it was also a long distance in a short period of time, not to mention the accumulated distance after the passage of time. His mental detection came from the 600-year-old ice silkworm, which was naturally far inferior to Hou Hao's mental detection. Hou Hao's mental detection could continue to grow with his cultivation, mental power, and the age of the soul rings that were gradually released by the origin power of the Xianmeng ice silkworm. The detection range of Dai Yun's mental detection soul skill was only linked to his mental power. The more mental power, the wider the detection range, and the stronger the mental power, the more precise the detection would be. So far, his spiritual detection is still only within a range of 60 meters in diameter with him as the center, while Hou Hao has long been able to detect a distance of 100 meters. Although the distance in all directions is only 30 meters. It is enough for Dai Yun to avoid the soul beasts that may appear in front of him. With the ability of space transmission, even if a soul beast discovers him, he can quickly leave and avoid fighting. In addition, his body is now full of the energy of the dark demon evil god tiger. Even if he uses spiritual detection and space transmission for a long time, the soul power consumed can be replenished immediately. It can be said that as long as the energy of the dark demon evil god tiger in his body is not consumed, he can continue to fight at a high intensity. The reason why he has to stop and rest for a while from time to time is just to restore his mental strength and keep his brain awake. After rushing for half an hour, Dai Yun estimated that he should have reached the edge of the inner area. This can be seen from the large number of powerful soul power fluctuations discovered by the spiritual detection. In the mixed area, there is no such a high density of powerful soul power fluctuations. Even the soul beast tribe he encountered not long ago did not have such a high density of soul power fluctuations. Dai Yun slowed down his pace and stopped using his special ability. He began to extend his spiritual detection in one direction until the farthest distance. He turned his head and kept scanning the surroundings. Perhaps it was because of his previous smooth journey that almost exhausted his luck. After the detection, he found that he was actually in the center of several soul beasts with a cultivation level of more than 30,000 years. It just happened that those soul beasts had not discovered him yet. Dai Yun knew his current strength and it was not appropriate to fight these soul beasts head-on. Whether he could win or not was one thing. The most important thing was whether more and more powerful soul beasts would be attracted by the noise of the battle. In that case, he could only try to see if he could escape by space transmission. So, he did not hesitate, and immediately retreated, returned to the mixed area, and moved horizontally, choosing to bypass the area where the 10,000-year soul beasts were, and then re-entered the inner area. This time, he did not encounter the situation just now, and entered the inner area smoothly. However, he did not dare to go deeper, and moved horizontally directly in the edge of the inner area. Unless he still could not find a suitable spiritual attribute soul beast, he would consider going deeper. Just like that, it was night again. Even in the daytime, the tall and lush trees in the inner area almost completely blocked the sunlight, making the forest look extremely dim. At night, in this starred-out great forest, it can be said that you can't see your hand in front of you. Of course, Dai Yun's first has the spirit eye martial soul, and this degree of darkness cannot completely block his vision. He can basically see everything around him clearly. In addition, he himself has the attribute of extreme darkness, and has the home advantage. Every darkness is an extension of his thinking, which is no different from seeing with the eyes, and even farther and clearer than seeing directly with the eyes. As night fell, Dai Yun did not dare to run around, because many powerful soul beasts are active at night. In order to avoid bad luck and encounter one while wandering around in the forest, he decided to rest on the spot and make plans after dawn. He still chose a high tree trunk as his resting place, subconsciously thinking that it would be safer than the ground. Moreover, the tree was lush and leafy, and the darkness could better hide his figure. As for those tree-dwelling soul beasts, he was not very worried. In the darkness, the extreme darkness is the absolute master. Even if his current cultivation is not high, with the attribute advantage, it is extremely difficult for other soul beasts to capture his figure and breath in the darkness. Even if Hou Hao stood in front of him at this time, he could not find him with spiritual detection. Time passed quietly in meditation. It was late at night. Insects chirped, beasts roared, and birds fluttered their wings. In this natural music that intertwined wildness and the laws of life, Dai Yun opened his eyes from meditation. A somewhat mysterious and vast spiritual fluctuation was gradually approaching him. This was also the reason why he woke up. Maybe this was his fourth soul ring. The next chapter is about the appearance of the last team member of the Douluo era. Below, the author will recreate the situation at that time for everyone. Xianmeng I Silkworm, Yu Hao, in the past, a soul beast suitable for you appeared. Your current physical strength can withstand a soul ring of no more than 15,000 years. The excess energy will be sealed up by the Ice Emperor and I, Ho Yu Hao, but brother Xianmeng, do you think it is possible for me to defeat a 10,000-year soul beast now? Xianmeng I Silkworm, this was roughly the situation at that time. This situation is not very complicated to talk about in detail, but if you really talk about it in detail, it will be a bit complicated. How to say it? This is the situation, it is indeed more complicated, and I don't know how to describe it specifically. In short, the situation at that time was quite complicated, funny plus doge, that's right, the author is leaving it here, See you tomorrow, see you at midnight tomorrow. Chapter 478, The Emperor's Auspicious Beast, the Three-Eyed Golden Lion. As soon as the mind moved, the spiritual detection automatically opened outward, and in the blink of an eye it spread to the maximum distance. Dai Yun's also saw the owner of the ancient and vast spiritual power fluctuations. Dai Yun's current spiritual power level is far from being tangible and intangible. Naturally, the pictures observed by his usual spiritual detection are all gray and white, like an old black and white TV, and like a black and white pencil drawing filter. But at this time, in the three-dimensional black and white world detected by the spiritual power, there is an existence that is as conspicuous as the sun. The soul beast looks majestic and has a golden ring around its body. It is 3 meters long and 8 feet tall at the shoulders. It is shaped like a lion and has claws like a dragon. It is covered with golden velvet and steps on red flames. Its eyes are like the scorching sun at noon, and its cry is like the sound of a dragon in a phoenix ensemble. It has a vertical eye on its forehead, which is as red as a rose gilded with gold. Its pupils are more transparent than glass, and its spirit is as majestic as a god. When Dai Yun's spiritual power looked at this strange soul beast, the gorgeous rose gold vertical pupil also looked at him at the same time. This also means that he has been discovered by the strange soul beast. When he saw the soul beast, especially the strange vertical eye on its forehead, Dai Yun's recognized the identity of the soul beast at the first time. The Emperor's Auspicious Beast. The Three-Eyed Golden Lion. When he recognized the identity of this soul beast, Dai Yun's became a little dazed. His first reaction was not to run away immediately, but to wonder why he could meet this Emperor's Auspicious Beast, the Three-Eyed Golden Lion, here. After that, he realized that the Three-Eyed Golden Lion was closely protected by 3 red demons. And the Red King, that is the 8th of the 10 great beasts, with a cultivation of more than 200,000 years, second only to the 7th Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion, the Ice Emperor. In front of this level of soul beast, Dai Yun's may not even have a chance to escape. So he didn't hesitate and wanted to teleport away immediately. But just when he started to use his soul power, he suddenly felt a shudder sweeping through his body. Looking back, the Eye of Destiny on the forehead of the Three-Eyed Golden Lion was staring at him. The fate of the person stared at by the Eye of Destiny will be judged by the owner. This is why Dai Yun's dared not move anymore. Now, he could only watch silently as the Three-Eyed Golden Lion gradually approached the tree where he was hiding, stopped at the root of the tree, and looked up at him. Although he was full of vigilance against the Three-Eyed Golden Lion and fear of the three-headed red demon Ao who might be hiding in the dark, Dai Yun still did not give up and tried his best to think about the possibility of escape. Fortunately, the Three-Eyed Golden Lion only looked at him with a little curiosity, and did not make any other moves. He even sat on the ground so that he could feel more comfortable when he looked up at Dai Yun's. The man and the beast looked at each other like this for a long time, and it was the Three-Eyed Golden Lion who spoke first, breaking the silence between them. Its voice was actually a clear and pleasant female voice, with a bit of confusion and mockery in its tone. Human. You are so afraid of me. With your low cultivation level, how dare you step into the inner area of the starred-out Great Forest? As soon as it spoke, Dai Yun's also found that the trembling feeling that enveloped him disappeared. Immediately, he also breathed a sigh of relief, and his first reaction was still to quickly get away from this place. But as soon as this thought appeared in his mind, the Three-Eyed Golden Lion seemed to have guessed what he was thinking and spoke again. It's easy for me to kill you. If you don't want to die and let me eat your brain, don't think about running away. As soon as it said this, Yun's felt the trembling feeling all over his body again, but it was slightly lighter than the previous one, and he didn't completely lose his ability to move. Yun's looked at the Eye of Destiny on the forehead of the three-eyed golden lion with fear, and then his figure flashed, teleported down from the tree, and came to a place 3 meters away from the three-eyed golden lion. He suddenly dodged, causing the three-eyed golden lion to jump back in the opposite direction of him with great vigilance, and then to distance itself from him. It crawled on its front body, baring its teeth at him, looking quite fierce. Yun's immediately raised his hands in front of him and slowly stepped back, indicating that he had no ill intentions. His series of actions also worked. The three-eyed golden lion gradually calmed down. Although it still looked at him with a vigilant look, it was no longer as fierce and violent as before. After another short silence, the three-eyed golden lion said, "Are you here to obtain the spirit ring?" Yun's hesitated for a while, but still nodded. The three-eyed golden lion couldn't help but sneer and said, "I see that your cultivation has just reached level 40, and you dare to come to the inner area. Do you think you can defeat the soul beasts here and absorb their soul rings?" Yun's also knew that the soul beasts in the inner area were mostly high-level 1,000-year soul beasts with strong bloodlines, and a large number of 10,000-year soul beasts, but he was a spiritual attribute, and the fourth soul ring required a 10,000-year spiritual attribute soul beast, not to mention that it also needed to match his martial soul. He didn't just have a soul beast with a spiritual attribute to absorb its soul ring. First of all, the soul beast with a spiritual attribute could no longer have light, or other attributes that conflicted with his own extreme darkness and extreme evil. Just like the three-eyed golden lion in front of him, in addition to the main spiritual attribute, it also had the extreme light attribute. Even if Yun's could kill it and obtain its soul ring, he couldn't absorb it. Unless the three-eyed golden lion sacrificed to him, the soul ring of the three-eyed golden lion would definitely conflict with him. Moreover, Yun's was also very clear about the significance of the three-eyed golden lion to the Xingdao Great Forest. Not to mention whether he could defeat it. Even if he could not threaten the life of the three-eyed golden lion. Otherwise, he could not afford the consequences of Emperor Yan and the beast tide that followed. Yun's looked at the three-eyed golden lion, sighed, and said, "Auspicious beast, you also know that I am here to obtain the spirit ring and will not pose a threat to you. So, can you be magnanimous and pretend that you have never seen me and let me go?" Facing the three-eyed golden lion, who controlled the power of destiny and had several fierce beasts behind him, Yun's chose to give in temporarily. But his submission did not work at this time. The three-eyed golden lion snorted coldly and said, "Let you go? If I saw it correctly before, you are also a soul master with spiritual attributes as the main attribute, right? I don't believe that you didn't feel the spiritual power fluctuations emitted by me and was discovered by me when I used spiritual detection. Isn't it because you want my soul ring?" Yun sighed again and said, "Since I know your identity as an auspicious beast, I naturally know that your soul ring cannot be absorbed by human soul masters. There is still one chapter when midnight enters September 1st, and we will officially reach 1 million words." Ha 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 ha, laughing up to the sky. See you later. The author must witness the word count showing 1 million words, or 1 million words, before going to bed. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 479, 10,000 Years Human-Faced Demonic Spider. I admit that before I saw you, I was indeed interested in your spirit ring, but this interest was completely gone after I recognized you. So you should just pretend that you have never seen me and I will leave as far as possible. How about that? Yun's looked at the thoughtful three-eyed golden lion and continued, "Moreover, you can see that I have only just reached level 40, but since I dare to come to the inner area of the starred out Great Forest, how could I not be accompanied by my master? To be honest, my master is nearby. If you really want to attack me, they will definitely come out to protect me at the first time." Hearing that there are other human spirit masters nearby, the three-eyed golden lion's eyes changed, bared his teeth again, and threatened, "Then I will definitely kill you before they show up." As soon as the three-eyed golden lion finished speaking, Yun's felt that the trembling in his body suddenly intensified, and he lost his ability to move again. Fortunately, he could still continue to speak, but it became a little difficult to open his mouth and make a sound. He said, Even if you can kill me before my teachers come to my rescue, you won't be able to survive after that. The teachers who came with me to get the spirit rings are all Super Douluo, and I am also from Shrek Academy. You are now about 15,000 years old. Even if you can be comparable to some ordinary 100,000-year spirit beasts, you will definitely not be able to resist the revenge of my teachers. Dai Yun's eyes did not change. During the years of practicing with Long Xiaoyao, he had already developed a strong psychological quality. Even if he might die in the next moment, he could still remain calm, even though he was actually scared to death. Therefore, seeing Dai Yun's extremely calm and hysterical eyes, the three-eyed golden lion was also frightened. Because she was sneaking out of the core area, she was not protected by the three-headed red devil Ao Chi Wang as usual. Moreover, Chi Wang should be sleeping soundly now, so how could he suddenly think of her at this time? With the eye of destiny and under the guidance of the power of destiny, the three-eyed golden lion could see that Dai Yun's was not lying. In other words, there was really more than one Super Douluo hiding nearby. If it was just a soul master who had just entered the title Douluo level, the three-eyed golden lion could still fight him, but once a human soul master entered the level of Super Douluo, she would have to run, because that was an existence that even the 8th-ranked Red King of the 10 fierce beasts could not beat. Moreover, the little human soul master in front of her seemed to be protected by more than one special power, and her power of destiny might not be able to kill him in one blow. As long as this little human soul master did not die immediately, what awaited her would be the crazy counterattack of multiple Super Douluos. In that case, she would definitely have to explain herself here today. So after weighing the pros and cons, the three-eyed golden lion still relaxed and said, "In this case, you should leave this inner area as soon as possible, and I can pretend that I have never seen you." Although he was submissive in his attitude, the three-eyed golden lion still wanted to show off his strength verbally, and continued, "I will only give you 10 seconds to disappear from my sight, otherwise." Humph, hearing it say this, Dai Yun's also secretly breathed a sigh of relief, bowed slightly to the three-eyed golden lion, and said, "Thank you very much." As soon as the voice fell, he immediately teleported and ran, quickly heading towards the mixed area of the Xingdao Great Forest. After a few flashes, he completely disappeared in the darkness of the forest. The three-eyed golden lion glanced at the direction where Dai Yun's disappeared, and then carefully observed the surroundings, and then turned into golden light and quickly left this place. Dai Yun's ran 1,000 meters away, and when he came to the depths of the mixed area, he gradually stopped. The mental detection scanned in a straight line backwards. After confirming that the three-eyed golden lion really did not catch up, he sat on the ground and leaned against a tree to recover his lost physical strength. In fact, the physical strength consumed in this distance was still small. The reason why he felt tired was the oppressive feeling of complete helplessness brought to him by the power of fate. Fortunately, the three-eyed golden lion chose to retreat because he was afraid of Yan Xiaos and Xian Liner hiding in the dark, so he didn't have to really try the consequences of being judged by fate. But before he rested for long, he suddenly became alert, crouched in place, and quietly released mental detection. Darkness is an extension of his senses, so he felt that something was approaching him rapidly. He first suspected that it was the three-eyed golden lion that caught up. But then the results of the mental detection told him that it was not the three-eyed golden lion that was approaching quickly. It was a large mass of sticky objects. Dai Yun's instantly used his special ability, his figure flashed, and dodged the mass of sticky objects that were attacking rapidly. After 2 quick teleportations, Dai Yun's, who was standing 10 meters away, discovered through spiritual detection that the sticky mass had exploded and formed a huge spider web where he was before. The diameter of the web was 10 meters, and it stuck to the surrounding tree trunks, branches, and the ground. Immediately, the places where the spider web stuck showed signs of corrosion, and the corrosion speed was very fast. If it weren't for the dense trees blocking it and the direction Dai Yun's escaped in was perpendicular to the direction of the spider web, he might have been stuck by the spider web now. Soon, Dai Yun's also smelled the disgusting stench in the air, which should have come from the spider web 3 times, so he couldn't help but teleport out again for a distance, completely away from the huge spider web. It was at this time that he heard a rustling sound not far away, and the spiritual detection covered that side. He also saw the soul beast that attacked him and the owner of the huge spider web. It was a huge spider with a black body. The longest of the 8 amputated limbs stretched out to about 10 meters. The spider was so big because of its 8 long legs. Its body was only about 5 meters long. What surprised Dai was that this huge black spider had no eyes on its head. But the next moment, his heart was filled with solemnity and surprise. Thanks to the spiritual detection, he also saw 8 eyes flashing with dim light on the abdomen of the black spider, and the white pattern around the 8 eyes that looked like a human face. All these characteristics showed that this was a human-faced demon spider. The human-faced demon spider is known as the soul beast killer. And judging from its size, it is definitely a human-faced demon spider with a cultivation of more than 10,000 years. The spider web before was its specialty soul skill, spider web binding. But what Dai feared most was the deadly poison of the human-faced demon spider. Sprinkle flowers with 1,000,000 words and blow the trumpet, beep beep beep. Woohoo! Preview of the next chapter. Dai is poisoned, and who will save him? Thank you to all the friends who voted for me. I love you little angels so much. Thank you for your support in the future. Chapter 480 Crisis. Dai looked extremely solemn, and took a few steps back, ready to run away immediately. But just as he was about to turn around and run away, the mental detection warned him again. Another figure attacked him from his left-hand side, less than 3 meters away from him, and the speed was even faster than the spider web spewed by the 10,000-year-old human-faced demon spider. Fortunately, the mental detection had the power to anticipate the enemy's moves, so the second before the figure approached Dai, he first launched the teleportation, disappeared from the spot, and appeared 5 meters away to the side. The figure also passed by the place where Dai had stood before, and then rushed out for a long distance, and then suddenly turned around, squatting on the ground, looking at Dai with a covetous look. Dai also saw the figure that attacked him clearly. It was a big snake more than 10 meters long. The whole body was an uncomfortable purple-red, the snake's tongue was black, and there was a light pink bulge on the forehead, emitting a faint light in the dark night. As soon as the big snake appeared, the air was suddenly filled with a sweet and fishy smell, which made Dai expression change suddenly. Mandragora snake. Or a 10,000-year-old mandragora snake. This soul beast is as ferocious as the human-faced demon spider, and its toxicity is enough to match that of the human-faced demon spider. Moreover, it is equally difficult to deal with. When he smelled that sweet and fishy smell, it meant that he had been poisoned, which is why Dai expression suddenly became ugly. He did not carry items such as detoxification pills with him. Because of the extreme evil, he himself is invulnerable to all evil, and poisoning is also considered as being possessed by evil, so he does not need detoxification pills and other things. But his cultivation is still weak. Under the protection of the extreme evil attribute, even if the mandragora snake and the human-faced demon spider bite him separately, he will not die from the poison, but he will still be affected by this powerful toxin. If he wants to recover, it will take a lot of time. Under the venom of the mandragora snake and the human-faced demon spider, even if he can recover slowly, he will definitely fall into coma. Now he has been poisoned by the mandragora snake. The horrible poison of 10,000 years level will definitely not be eliminated by the extreme evil in a short time, and his condition will inevitably get worse and worse. If he fails to deal with these two soul beasts before he faints, he will definitely become their meal. So Dai immediately gave up the idea of escaping. After all, whether it is the human-faced demon spider or the mandragora snake, they are more persistent about their prey. Unless he can escape from the zinged-out great forest far away before the poison takes effect and he faints, he will definitely be caught by them. He exerted force on his feet and sent his body forward. At the same time, the 3 soul rings around his body, 1 yellow and 2 purple, also shone brightly at this moment. When Dai decided to fight, he intended to make a quick decision. Naturally, the 3 existing soul skills of the spirit eyes were all released at full power. The mental detection instantly helped the mental blast and mental power to lock the human-faced demon spider and the mandragora snake. Then, the mental power controlled the 2 poisonous soul beasts. Finally, the mental blast was activated, and the threshold was opened to the maximum, intending to directly detonate the full mental power of the human-faced demon spider and the mandragora snake, and win with one blow. Facing 2 10,000-year soul beasts, Dai did not dare to be arrogant, and used his current strongest attack ability right away. Although he is only a level 40 cultivator now, the strength of his mental power is comparable to most soul kings. In other words, if the human-faced demon spider and the mandragora snake today are only about 10,000 years old, then his mental power is enough to completely break their mental defenses, and use mental blast to completely kill the 2 soul beasts. But what made Dai Yun's heart sink was that, whether it was the human-faced demon spider or the mandragora snake, they only became sluggish for a period of time under his all-out mental explosion, and were not killed by the detonated mental power. Therefore, these two soul beasts have a cultivation level of more than 20,000 years, and his mental power level is not as good as theirs. At this moment, Dai Yun's was quite suspicious whether his fortune was secretly changed by the three-eyed golden lion. Otherwise, why would he be so unlucky now, encountering two powerful soul beasts that even most soul kings and soul emperors dare not confront head-on? He is now just a quasi-soul master. How can he break the situation? Although the all-out mental explosion did not kill the human-faced demon spider and the mandragora snake directly as Dai Yun's hoped, it at least caused them to lag for a full 3 seconds. He immediately seized the time when the enemy was controlled and attacked the two soul beasts again. Dai Yun's first choice of attack target was the 10,000-year-old mandragora snake. After all, the mandragora snake's weaknesses are obvious: its eyes, mouth, and the bump on its forehead, unlike the weakness of the human-faced demon spider, which is the 8 eyes hidden in its abdomen. In just 3 seconds, any wise person would prioritize the weaker opponent. Moreover, the mandragora snake is faster than the human-faced demon spider. As long as the mandragora snake dies, Dai Yun's pressure will be much less. The light golden light flashing in his eyes became brighter, and his pupils also appeared automatically because of the high tension of his spirit. The previous push on the ground had already sent himself 3 meters away. At the same time, the human-faced demon spider and the mandragora snake also pounced on him, but then they were affected by the mental explosion and fell into a sluggish state. All the changes in Dai Yun's mind happened in a short moment. After seeing that the mental explosion could not kill the two soul beasts, he immediately activated the teleportation and rushed forward, and a bright and dangerous electric light condensed in his hand. After just one teleportation, Dai Yun's was almost in front of the mandragora snake. He waved his hand and the lightning in his palm, which had been ready for a long time, shot out along with his movement, pointing directly at the mandragora snake in front of him. The lightning, with terrifying energy, when about to hit the mandragora snake, instantly split into 3 strands, attacking the mandragora snake's 2 eyes and the bump on its forehead. The speed of the lightning is unquestionable, and it is basically impossible to dodge it. Moreover, the mandragora snake is still in a state of mental shock. Even if its instincts are still there, it is impossible to dodge it. The lightning came with a strong impact force, directly knocking the mandragora snake far away, hitting a tree trunk heavily, and then rebounding to the ground. The next moment, the tree that was hit also broke and fell to the other side of the mandragora snake. After knocking the mandrake snake away, Dai Yun's did not check whether it was dead or not. Instead, he immediately turned around and teleported again, approaching the human-faced demon spider. Chapter 481, Life and Death Moment. At this moment, the control effect of the mental blast was still in effect, so Dai Yun's did not waste time. Teleportation, mental blast, mental power, and the palm lightning that was charged again, it can be said that most of the abilities he could use now were used at this time. Teleportation was to close the distance with a human-faced demon spider, mental blast was to control the human-faced demon spider for a while again, and mental power was to lift the huge body of the human-faced demon spider from the ground, exposing the 8 eyes under its abdomen to the attack that Sister Yanzi followed. Dai Yun's waved his hand again. The lightning gathered in his palm spread outward, hitting the ground, and lifting a lot of earth and rocks. As his arm was raised, the lightning continued to move forward, creating a scratch on the ground with flying earth and rocks, and finally, it hit the 8 eyes of the human-faced demon spider fiercely, like a highly destructive steel needle, deeply piercing the body of the human-faced demon spider. In addition, the living thing itself is a conductor, so the lightning was transmitted to the whole body of the human-faced demon spider in an instant, completely destroying the nerves in its body. Even though it has been practicing for 10,000 years, it still cannot avoid the end of burial under the might of heaven. When he saw the black soul rings rising from the corpses of the two soul beasts, and the moment when the spiritual detection confirmed that the two poisonous creatures were completely dead, Dai Yun's could no longer hold on to his body. After barely walking a few steps, he leaned against the trunk of a big tree, letting his body slide down along the trunk, and finally sat on the ground, panting a little. His eyes seemed to be unable to open, and he shook his head left and right without knowing it. Although the battle just now lasted only a few seconds, with a huge energy of the dark demon evil god tiger in his body, he did not consume any soul power. But the venom of the 10,000-year-old mandragora snake was too terrifying. In just a few seconds, he had already developed a high fever and some symptoms of unconsciousness, which was a precursor to complete coma. This also shows how difficult a battle he just fought was. After defeating the 10,000-year-old human-faced demon spider and the mandragora snake, his tense spirit relaxed. Naturally, the poisoning symptoms that had been suppressed by willpower also rebounded immediately, making him completely lose his fighting power. Fortunately, the energy of the extreme evil attribute in his body was gradually helping him to dissolve the mandragora snake poison he had inhaled before. As long as a period of time passes, he should be able to fully recover. But perhaps, his fortune today was really changed by the three-eyed golden lion. Just when he was no longer conscious and was about to fall into coma, there was a dark tree not far from him, and the surrounding air was quietly twisted. One by one, strange and extremely weird green eyes slowly opened from the huge trunk, almost covering all the branches of the tree. And without exception, these strange eyes were staring at Dai Yun's, who was leaning against a tree and unconscious. A dark vine crawling on the ground, like a swimming snake, gradually approached Dai Yun's. The vines were also covered with the green eyes, staring at Dai Yun's, and gradually flashing with cruel and excited divine light. The distance between Dai Yun's and the dark tree with strange eyes was not far, so the vine did not take much time to come to Dai Yun's, flexibly wrapped around Dai Yun's left ankle, and then pulled it suddenly and quickly retracted it, trying to pull him to the side of the dark tree. When his body was suddenly pulled hard, Dai Yun's, as a spiritual attribute soul master, was slightly awake. But because the venom of the mandrake snake was too overbearing, he was still in a state of semi-coma and semi-awake. He was dragged away by the vine for a long distance and had no countermeasures. Being dragged by something, Dai Yun's remaining consciousness instinctively wanted to start the conveyor belt to escape. But although the thought was transmitted, the feeling of being dragged did not disappear. Just like when a person is half asleep and half awake, knowing clearly that he has to rush to the morning self-study class, the brain does give you a near-perfect simulation of the various scenes of getting up, washing, and rushing to the classroom, but when you realize it, you still know that it is just a dream. So, when Dai Yun's remaining consciousness was still constantly conveying the idea of teleporting away, his body had been completely entangled by the dark vines and was held high in front of the dark tree. The vines that entangled Dai Yun's were still squirming, getting tighter and tighter, as if they wanted to directly pinch him to death. Dai Yun's, who was in the thick vines, had begun to have an abnormal flush on his face and had symptoms of suffocation. If he was not rescued, he would really die here today and become the nutrients of this dark tree. The high fever caused by the poisoning had already made Dai Yun's very uncomfortable, and now he was suffocating. The remaining consciousness seemed to have seen a piece of pure white light, and in that white light that made people feel terrified, there seemed to be many familiar figures flickering. When those flickering images gradually became as clear as a revolving lantern, the terrifying white light suddenly disappeared. It was completely swallowed up by a gray and transparent airflow mixed in the gray. His remaining consciousness was like grabbing a life-saving straw, and it instantly expanded in the sea of spirituality, allowing him to gain a moment of clarity. Outside the sea of spirituality, Dai Yun's, who was wrapped in vines like a deadly cocoon, suddenly opened his eyes. Among the heavy vines, only his right eye leaked out from the gap between the vines. At this time, in this right eye, there was a night with lightning and thunder. The light of lightning leaked out from the gap between the vines, and the darkness around was also surging restlessly and rising into clouds. Boom! A huge thunderous sound exploded in the sky. Above the forest, the thick darkness had already obscured the bright moon and stars in the sky. Only the condensed electric light was like a dragon shuttling through the clouds formed by the darkness. The next second, the lightning exploded from the cocoon formed by the dark vines, turning into countless snakes of electricity, radiating out in all directions, smashing the vines, the surrounding branches, and the soil and rocks on the ground into pieces. Dai Yun's feet were full of lightning, supporting his figure and suspending him in the void. At this time, he was still not completely awake. But the instincts now were enough to drive him to accomplish some things. With a flash of silver light, his figure instantly appeared 5 meters away, his hands formed into claws, and countless tiny electric currents jumped on his fingertips, and then he pressed down hard. Chapter 482 Awakening and Rescue. As if being pulled by something, two silver snakes of lightning followed the movement of his hands and descended from the dark cloud above the forest, fiercely striking the pitch-black tree with the green eyes, splashing a lot of sparks and splitting the pitch-black tree into 3 incomplete pieces. Then there was the fire of thunder, burning on the broken wood. When all this was over, the snake-shaped lightning wrapped around Dai Yun's also disappeared. He slowly landed on the ground, and his eyes became clear again. After temporarily regaining consciousness, he also discovered the pitch-black tree burning in the sky fire. On the branches that had not yet been affected by the flames, there were still some green eyes glowing. Then, he also recognized the identity of this pitch-black tree. It was a unique tree species in the Xingdao Great Forest, the Demon Eye Demon Tree. This Demon Eye Demon Tree also had spiritual attributes and could also be the target of his 4th soul ring. But unfortunately, the Demon Eye Tree in front of him only has 9,000 years of cultivation, and his 4th soul ring needs a 10,000-year soul ring. Moreover, although it was struck by 2 thunderbolts, the Demon Eye Tree is still not dead. Dai Yun has not recovered from the mandrake snake venom yet. He may fall into coma again at any time, and it is completely unsuitable to fight again. Therefore, Dai Yun also chose to turn around immediately, leave this place far away, and find a slightly safer place to restore himself to the best condition. However, it may be because of the mandrake snake venom that made him dazed and his vigilance decreased. In addition, he did not turn on the mental detection, so he did not notice that there was a sharp branch flying out from the remaining branches of the Demon Eye Tree and coming straight towards him. Dai Yun failed to dodge and was stabbed in the left arm by the sharp branch. The sudden pain also made his dazed mind sober for a while. He staggered forward half a step, looking down at the sharp branch that pierced his left arm, which was covered with fine barbs. Dai Yun covered his left arm, slowly turned around, looked at the remains of the Demon Eye Demon Tree in disbelief, endured the pain, pulled out the branch, and threw it aside. The next moment, he could no longer hold on, fell directly to the ground, and completely fainted. In addition to its spiritual attributes, the Demon Eye Demon Tree also has powerful paralysis, corrosion and other highly toxic toxins. Although it may not be as powerful as the poisonous kings such as the human-faced demon spider and the mandrake snake, it is still a very terrible poison. Dai Yun was already troubled by the venom of the mandrake snake, and now he was hit by a new highly toxic toxin. Naturally, he was already extremely weak, and this time he didn't have any consciousness left, and he was completely unconscious. It was unknown how long it would take for the extreme evil attribute to clear all the toxins. At this time, not far away, there was another severely damaged Demon Eye Demon Tree, staring at him, ready to take his life at any time. As expected, the vines of the Demon Eye Tree spread towards Dai Yun again. It did not give up the idea of killing Dai Yun. On the contrary, because Dai Yun was the murderer who caused him to be severely injured, the Demon Eye Tree undoubtedly hated him even more. This time, if the Demon Eye Tree succeeded again, Dai Yun would not be able to wake up and perform the dying counterattack just now. What's even more strange is that Yan Xiao's and Xian Liner, who are supposed to be protecting Dai Yun in the dark, have completely disappeared at this time, and no one knows where they went. When the vines of the Demon Eye Tree were about to entangle Dai Yun again, a golden light suddenly came from the depths of the forest, completely smashing the remains of the Demon Eye Tree, and then in the blink of an eye, it came to Dai Yun's side, and then disappeared into the depths of the forest again. At the same time, Dai Yun, who was lying on the ground and unconscious, also disappeared. The scorching sun in the early afternoon, the golden light shines through the layers of green leaves, gently sprinkled on the soft ground of the blue-silver grass in the forest. The air here is moist, and the fragrance of flowers, plants and wet soil is everywhere. When the wind blows, the leaves dance, and the bright sunlight that shuttles through the gaps between the leaves also becomes erratic and dreamy. Just like that, a ray of sunlight, by coincidence, falls on the closed eyes of the boy lying on the blue-silver grass. Compared with last night, the boy's painful expression with slightly wrinkled eyebrows has disappeared, leaving only calmness and stability. Perhaps because he felt that the sunlight was a little dazzling, the boy tilted his head left and right a little unsteadily, and then suddenly raised his hand to block his eyes, and while keeping the sunlight out, he slowly opened his eyes. As his pupils gradually focused, he also saw clearly where he was now. After being dazed for a while, he immediately sat up and looked around. When he slightly tilted his body to the right to see more clearly, The sudden pulling of his left hand and the tingling pain on his left arm completely awakened his somewhat dull nerves. He hissed softly, and subconsciously covered the painful part of his left arm with his right hand. At the same time, he looked down and saw a green grass leaf tightly wrapped there. The boy moved his right hand away, and then saw a simple bow tied with vines. He raised his head again and looked around, and then confirmed that this was not the place where he fought yesterday. Who brought him here? Was it Din Yan and Din Xian? Then why didn't they just take him out of the Xingdao Great Forest? And, he was about to die yesterday, why didn't they take action? While he was wondering, his ears suddenly caught a rustling sound coming from behind him, and subconsciously, the mental detection was turned on and spread rapidly behind him. The next moment, he saw the familiar golden figure and the rose-gold vertical pupil that stared at him. After a slight pause, he withdrew his mental power, and his thoughts flowed rapidly. Did she bring me here? You're awake, he heard the clear and pleasant female voice coming from behind him. With a sigh, he supported his body with his right hand, which was still able to exert force, and turned back to look at the extremely majestic three-eyed golden lion. After a pause, he said, "Do I need to leave now?" The three-eyed golden lion did not expect him to ask this, and was stunned for a moment, and then a little mockery appeared in his eyes. "I saved you yesterday, and you don't even plan to say thank you to me? Is this the quality of you humans?" After hearing her words, Dai Yuns thought that it was indeed she who saved him. Seeing that Dai Yuns didn't react for a long time, the three-eyed golden lion continued to mock him. "You lied to me yesterday, saying that you were accompanied by several teachers with super Douluo cultivation. But what happened? When your life was threatened, did your teachers show up? Today?" The author played through the remastered version of Resident Evil 3 again, and couldn't help but let Dai Yuns be stabbed in the left arm like Sister Jill, and then the beauty saved the hero. Haha. Chapter 483 The Unbearable Weight of Life. Although Dai Yuns also wanted to know why Yan Xiao's and Xian Liner didn't show up in the end, he didn't care about it now, even though the Demon Eye Demon Tree's final attack might have killed him. After all, when he was unconscious, the Demon Eye Demon Tree was still alive. However, he was grateful that the three-eyed golden lion saved him, even though he was still quite confused as to why the three-eyed golden lion would save him. Dai Yun sighed softly and was about to say thank you to the three-eyed golden lion, but as soon as he opened his mouth, a fierce howl mixed with mighty power suddenly came from a distance. Dai Yun's and the three-eyed golden lion subconsciously looked towards the direction where the sound came from, and their expressions changed almost at the same time. Dai Yun's felt the powerful aura of a 100,000-year-old soul beast in the roar. The reaction of the three-eyed golden lion was even greater than that of Dai Yun's. She jumped lightly and came to Dai Yun's, saying anxiously, "Quick, restrain your breath, it's the Red King who is looking for me." Then, without waiting for Dai Yun's to react or giving him any chance to refuse, she suddenly pounced forward and pressed him down, and then she lay directly on him, with her hair like golden crystals hanging down naturally, covering Dai Yun's tightly. Dai Yun's, who was suddenly suffocated, said, although the three-eyed golden lion had only cultivated for about 15,000 years, the whole soul beast was still quite large, and naturally, the weight was also very consistent with her current size. Dai Yun's, who was tortured by suffocation and pressure, said, Mom, I'm going to die. Just when the three-eyed golden lion just covered Dai Yun's body with its size, a slightly hot breath suddenly came over, and then a canine soul beast with 3 heads, red hair all over its body, and shaped like a lion, stood in front of the three-eyed golden lion lying on the ground. That was the 3-headed red demon mastiff, the 8th among the 10 fierce beasts today, the Red King. Among the fierce beasts living in the Xingdao Great Forest, the Red King's strength ranked second to last, but he was deeply trusted by Emperor Tian. Naturally, the task of guarding the Emperor's auspicious beast, the 3-eyed golden lion, was given to it by Emperor Tian. Due to the extremely special status of the 3-eyed golden lion in the world of soul beasts, basically no soul beast dares to harm this auspicious beast of the Emperor. Even the human-faced demon spider, known as the soul beast killer, will choose to retreat quickly if it accidentally encounters the 3-eyed golden lion. Even if it is attacked by the 3-eyed golden lion, it will not fight back, but will only keep fleeing, either escaping from the 3-eyed golden lion or being killed by the 3-eyed golden lion. Of course, soul beasts like the dark demon evil god tiger are exceptions. If a dark demon evil god tiger and the 3-eyed golden lion meet, they will definitely fight to the death. In a sense, the dark demon evil god tiger, which is favored by the evil god, can also be regarded as one of the auspicious beasts, but it will not bring auspiciousness to other soul beasts, but only death to other soul beasts. But the task of guarding the three-eyed golden lion is not as easy as it seems on the surface. Just like last night, if you don't pay attention, the three-eyed golden lion will sneak out and wander around in this Xingdao great forest. The emperor beast favored by the power of fate has a very good ability to conceal the secrets of heaven and its own breath. If the three-eyed golden lion is determined to hide, let alone the Red King, even Detian will find it very difficult. For the Qi Wang, Detian and other fierce beasts who have survived for hundreds of thousands of years, the three-eyed golden lion, which is only 15,000 years old, is completely an ignorant child. In addition, the three-eyed golden lion rarely leaves the core area of the Xingdao Great Forest except when hunting. It has always been under the attention of many fierce beasts. Therefore, even if she often sneaks away, the Red King just lets her do it and does not stop her. It's just that every time I see the innocent three-eyed golden lion coming back, the three-headed red demon mastiff will feel very tired. Just like before, the three red devil mastiffs looked at the three-eyed golden lion lying on the ground obediently, with three eyes full of well-behaved and innocent expressions. The big head in the middle opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but he still swallowed it down. Just like before, he was in a state of mind between helplessness and speechlessness, and said the words that he knew were useless, but he still had to say, "Next time, don't sneak out again. Even if you want to go out, tell me first." The three-eyed golden lion tried to open his eyes wide to make himself look more lovely and more trustworthy. He nodded repeatedly and moved his right front paw to secretly push back the head of Daiyun's who was about to pop out from under his body. He said, "Okay, King Qi, I won't do it next time," but what he was thinking was that if he told King Qi would definitely follow her secretly, so how could she have so much fun outside? The big head in the middle of the three red devil mastiffs wanted to say something but stopped. Then, the head on his left immediately opened his mouth and complained, "You said the same thing last time." The head on the right followed up, "You always promise the same thing, but next time you will find a chance to sneak away when I'm asleep and can't pay attention to you." The head on the left, "Yeah, you'll make me look like a stupid dog who can only sleep and can't do anything else." The head on the right, "That's right, this will make me look stupid." The head in the middle, "What if I want to chop off these two heads that play double axe every day for the nth time?" Hearing the three-headed red demon mastiff speak out his true thoughts, the three-eyed golden lion also felt a little embarrassed, and said, "I didn't run out of the forest. The entire Stardao Great Forest is our home. Why can't I walk around in my own home?" After hearing what she said, the three heads of the three-headed red demon mastiff sighed at the same time and said, "The Stardao Great Forest is our home, that's right. But the outskirts of the Stardao Great Forest are not safe. Detian asked you not to leave the core area as much as possible because he is afraid that you will meet humans with ulterior motives in the outskirts. Those ignorant humans don't know your identity as an auspicious beast. What if someone takes a fancy to your spirit ring and wants to attack you? So, if you want to leave the core area in the future, you must tell me first, understand? You are too important to us." The three-eyed golden lion had heard them say many times about staying away from humans, and now he was busy trying to press down Daiyun's who was struggling under him more tightly, so he replied perfunctorily, "Yeah, okay King Qi, I understand, King Qi, I don't believe you." He sighed softly again, and wanted to say something, when he saw the three-eyed golden lion in front of him suddenly froze, and then said to him, "Red King, now I am in the core area, I must be very safe. How about this? I promise you that I will not run around in the next few days. Go back now, I feel a little sleepy and want to sleep for a while." The head in the middle of the Red King looked at the three-eyed golden lion half-doubtingly, but before it had time to speak, the show was taken away by the other two heads. The head on the left was overjoyed, "Really? You won't run around in the next few days and cause me trouble." The head on the right was horrified, "A plant, a lucky beast doesn't run around. Are you still a lucky beast?" The head in the middle, "Shut up, you two stupid dogs." The three-eyed golden lion nodded quickly, Really, Red King, go away, don't disturb my sleep." As soon as she finished speaking, the big head immediately lay on her front paws, closed her eyes, and looked eager to sleep. The Red King looked at the eye of destiny on the forehead of the three-eyed golden lion, which was still secretly staring at him. After noticing his gaze, he looked away with a guilty conscience. The three heads said together, "But in the end, The Red King sighed tiredly and turned away. But before leaving, he still said, "Then I'll go back first. You must not run around." The three-eyed golden lion, who was still lying on the ground, raised his head instantly. "Yeah, no problem." Only after confirming that the Red King had completely walked away, the three-eyed golden lion jumped up from the ground where he was crawling, and immediately looked down at Dai-Yun's below. Then she was shocked when she saw it. Because Dai-Yun's face was all burnt black at this time, his hair, eyebrows, eyelashes, and even the small hair on his face were not saved, all disappeared. The three-eyed golden lion glanced at the flames burning on its claws, and extinguished all the flames on its four claws with a guilty conscience. Then it looked at Dai-Yun's, who seemed to be unconscious, and carefully raised its claws to touch his charred face, saying, "Human, human? Are you okay?" Previously, the reason why the three-eyed golden lion urged the Red King to leave quickly was because she was about to be unable to hold down the struggling Dai-Yun's. But not long after, she felt that Dai-Yun's, who was still struggling desperately, kicked his legs the next moment, and then there was no movement. She was puzzled and wanted to see what happened to Dai-Yun's, so she thought of an excuse to pretend to sleep and let the Red King leave quickly. Now, looking at Dai-Yun's, whose head was tilted to one side and looked really miserable, the three-eyed golden lion was a little late. Could this human be dead? The force of her paw hitting Dai-Yun's inevitably increased, causing Dai-Yun's head to shake continuously. Hey, human, what's wrong with you? Move a little, breathe." She tentatively moved the paw that was patting Dai-Yun's face to Dai-Yun's mouth and nose. "Why aren't you breathing, Dai-Yun's? Goodbye, Mom. I'm sailing away tonight." Three-eyed golden lion. Bah, humans are rubbish. This article is still labeled as a light-hearted article. Ho, there's no more today. The author's brain is withered again, and he can't write. Maybe it's because the school is about to start, and the preschool syndrome is coming on ORZ. Chapter 484, The Three-Eyed Golden Lion's Compensation. At the edge of a small pond in the core area of the Xingdao Great Forest, Dai-Yun's looked at his face in the clear water, which had barely washed away all the burnt black, and then looked at his bald head, which was almost blinded by the midday sun reflected on it. The point is, if the hair is gone, it's gone, but it's too much to lose the eyebrows and eyelashes. Needless to say, the hair will grow back again in a short time. But what about eyebrows and eyelashes? Dai-Yun's has never shaved his head, so he doesn't know if they can grow out. If they can't grow out, Dai-Yun silently imagined himself with hair but no eyebrows. Well, then don't let the hair grow anymore. He thought in self-abandonment, and then looked at the big three-eyed golden lion squatting not far away with an extremely resentful look. The three-eyed golden lion also noticed Dai-Yun's gaze. Its golden tail swung uncomfortably, and it blinked its eyes, looking at Dai-Yun's without saying a word, looking very innocent. Seeing her like this, Dai-Yun's couldn't help but sigh, and then said, "Anyway, thank you for helping me," whether it was rescuing him from the demon eye tree or covering for him in front of the Red King just now. Any of these two things is likely to bring him a fatal disaster, especially in front of the fierce beast, the three-headed red demon mastiff. Dai-Yun stood up, looked at the three-eyed golden lion, and said, "But I have to leave. I have to go find my teachers and see if they have encountered any trouble. By the way, I will also look for my fourth soul ring." The three-eyed golden lion tilted its head, staring at Dai-Yun's with three eyes, and said nothing. Dai-Yun's was not sure what she was thinking, so he took a tentative step back. After seeing that the three-eyed golden lion still had no reaction, he said, "Am I really leaving?" Then he immediately turned around and walked towards the outer direction of the Stardao Great Forest. But when he was about to use the teleportation, the three-eyed golden lion, who had been silent all the time, suddenly spoke. "Wait." Dai-Yun's steps froze, and his first reaction was that the three-eyed golden lion was not going to let him go. But thinking of the 2 times the three-eyed golden lion helped him, and the impressions of the three-eyed golden lion in his memory, he paused, turned around, looked at the three-eyed golden lion, and asked, "What's wrong?" He decided to believe the three-eyed golden lion. He also believed in his own judgment. The three-eyed golden lion's golden tail was still swaying slowly, slapping the air left and right. Then, she said hesitantly, "Are you going to find a spiritual attribute soul beast of about 13,000 years old to be your fourth soul ring?" Although Dai-Yun's was confused, he still nodded. The three-eyed golden lion gritted his teeth and said, "How about this? I will take you to find a soul beast that suits you, as compensation for my accidentally burning your hair." Dai-Yun's was shocked at first. Although the three-eyed golden lion was willing to take him to find a soul beast that suits him, it would definitely be extremely beneficial to him. But Dai Yun's was quite puzzled. As a soul beast, the three-eyed golden lion was also willing to take him to find a soul beast that suits him? After a pause, Dai Yun's chose to refuse and said, "You can say that you saved me twice, but you accidentally burned my hair. You don't have to go against your conscience to help me find a suitable spirit ring. I even have to think about how to repay you for saving my life twice." The three-eyed golden lion shook his head at first, then instinctively laughed at Dai Yun's, "Repay my life-saving grace? Then I want you to stop hunting spirit beasts and obtain spirit rings to improve your cultivation. Would you be willing?" Dai Yun's frowned, then apologized, "I'm sorry, I really can't do this. I really need to improve my strength. So, if you agree, let me repay you in other ways. After all, he needs to be strong enough to avenge the Duke's mansion, and he also needs to be strong enough to get rid of the control of the blue-haired young man." The three-eyed golden lion smiled contemptuously and said, "Isn't that the end? It is impossible for you soul masters to stop hunting soul beasts. As long as humans can practice through soul power, they will never stop hunting our soul beasts. Although I am the emperor respected by all soul beasts in the world and respected by all soul beasts, even so, I still need to hunt other soul beasts. One is to fill my stomach, and the other is to practice. Since I will attack my soul beasts, why do I have to ask you humans not to hunt soul beasts at all? The strong prey on the weak, which is the natural law that all living things abide by. Unless you do whatever you want, kill soul beasts indiscriminately, and force our soul beast tribe into a desperate situation, then even if I exhaust all my vitality, I will cut off the fate of all humans. Besides, let's put it one way and one way. I saved you twice, you can repay me slowly in the future, but I have to make some compensation to you for burning your hair." At the end, the tone of the three-eyed golden lion became somewhat awkward and embarrassed, and the previous contemptuous and arrogant aura disappeared. After all, it was her operating error that made all the hair on Dai Yun's head disappear. The flames she possessed were the dual attributes of extreme light and extreme fire. Dai Yun's was lucky that his hair was only burned, but not directly burned to ashes. In addition, she almost suffocated him to death. She had saved him twice with great difficulty. If she let his life accidentally disappear in her hands, how embarrassed would she be? Dai Yun's didn't know what the three-eyed golden lion was thinking at this time. His own heart and strength had long been filled with shock, and there was a trace of uncertainty that was gradually expanding. He thought about what the three-eyed golden lion had just said to him. That's right. For a powerful soul beast like the three-eyed golden lion to prey on other soul beasts is a matter of course, and it is the embodiment of the natural law of the survival of the fittest. Then what about humans hunting soul beasts and obtaining soul rings to advance their own cultivation? Is it also the natural law of the survival of the fittest? Whether from the incident itself or from the original work in his memory, it should be. Soul masters with sufficient cultivation successfully hunted soul beasts, obtained soul rings, and successfully advanced their cultivation. This is the soul master is strong, the soul beast is weak, and the strong prey on the weak. Soul masters with insufficient cultivation failed to hunt soul beasts and were killed and eaten by soul beasts. The soul beasts themselves can also get a lot of benefits from the soul master's body soaked in soul power. This is also the survival of the fittest. Whether soul masters should hunt soul beasts is a question like whether humans should eat meat. But are wild soul beasts the same as poultry and livestock raised on a large scale? Dai Yun's didn't want to delve into these issues because it was meaningless. If humans no longer hunt soul beasts, the number of soul beasts will increase, but correspondingly, the number of soul masters will decrease until the power of humans is not enough to fight against soul beasts. Then, humans will also become food on the soul beasts' plates. Is this a situation that humans want to see? Of course not. But if humans continue to hunt soul beasts, and soul beasts cultivate slowly, the number of soul beasts will inevitably decrease until they become extinct, which is what soul beasts don't want to see. In the final analysis, it's still one sentence. No one wants to see genocide. And the final answer to this question will return to a fundamental word, degree. We are all living beings, and no one has an absolute advantage over anyone else. Humans can kill soul beasts, and conversely, soul beasts can kill humans. If you want to maintain a balance between the two sides, you have to master a word, moderation. Therefore, indiscriminate killing of soul beasts is absolutely undesirable. Dai Yun's cannot guarantee that he will never harm soul beasts. But what he can guarantee is that he will do his best to hunt only the soul beasts he needs. Things like unless soul beasts take the initiative to attack, never kill soul beasts indiscriminately are all bullshit. If you want soul beasts not to attack you actively, then don't step into the gathering place of soul beasts in your life. Therefore, looking at the three-eyed golden lion whose sight was somewhat erratic, Dai-yun said solemnly, "Thank you very much, auspicious beast. With your leadership, I believe that this time will be smooth and no unnecessary killing will be caused. As for your 2 life-saving graces before, I will have the opportunity to repay you in the future." The wandering three-eyed golden lion was called back to his senses by his voice, and then nodded gently, stood up, and jumped lightly to the edge of the lush woods beside the pool. He looked back at Dai-yun's and said, "Then follow me, three-eyed golden lion. Everyone has hair on their body. Let me sing the hair for you, Dai-yun's. What kind of hair is it on our body that makes me feel sorry that I have no hair anymore?" Three-eyed golden lion, Dai-yun's, if you are willing to repay your 2 life-saving graces before three-eyed golden lion, I am willing. Dai-yun's, if you agree, you can let me repay you in other ways for your 2 life-saving graces before, later. Three-eyed golden lion, it's time for you to repay me. Dai-yun's, okay, what do you want me to do? Three-eyed golden lion, marry me. Dai-yun's, you saved my life twice before. If there is a chance in the future, I will repay you, later. Three-eyed golden lion was covered with dazzling golden light, and a bright golden ray appeared on the horizon. She said, "No chance." Fire ignited on her body. The author is on the way to school today and will officially arrive tomorrow. Although the update is small, it is continuous and I will try to update as much as possible. Thank you to the little angels who voted for me for a recommendation and monthly tickets. Thank you to the little angels who rewarded this book. I love you so much, killer. You will not end up like the little monster again. This is my timeline, but I don't know if the knife is still there, and the author hasn't written that. Chapter 485 The Fourth Soul Ring. Powerful spirit-attributed soul beasts are indeed rare, but their strength is indeed very strong. Even if they are only about 10,000 years old, they can survive in the depths of the mixed area of the starred-out Great Forest, or even in the core area. In my impression, there are several powerful spirit-attributed soul beasts on the edge of the core area. Among them, there is a soul beast called the Silver Ying Beast, which has the ability to copy and imitate the soul skills of other soul beasts through mental power, and is particularly difficult to deal with. It's a pity that their cultivation has exceeded 20,000 years, which is not suitable for you. What I want to take you to find is a soul beast with powerful mental attack power, which just happens to correspond to your cultivation direction as a strong attack-type combat soul master. They all live in the mixed area and are good at living in groups. Let's see if we can catch a lone one later. And their brain marrow is also very delicious. To me, the taste is only slightly worse than the brain marrow of soul beasts with light attributes. As he walked, Dai-yun's listened to what the three-eyed golden lion said, and he couldn't help feeling a little ashamed. He almost forgot that the three-eyed golden lion feeds on the brains of soul beasts, and has a very violent temperament. It was incredible that he could communicate with him so amicably now. Their speed was not fast, just the speed they usually walked. With the three-eyed golden lion leading the way, Dai-yun's was not worried about being attacked by other soul beasts. Now, the only thing that made him a little worried was that he was afraid that the Red King would suddenly come up to him. After thinking it over again and again, Dai-yun's decided to say, "You just ran out of the core area like this. Will the Red King find out that you are missing again?" The three-eyed golden lion tilted his head to look at him and said, "If he finds out, then he finds out. Anyway, I won't be in any trouble. At most, I will be taken back. But you should really be worried. I don't want to save you again. However, we are now in the middle part of the mixed area, and it should not be difficult for you to run." Dai-yun's, what the three-eyed golden lion said made sense. She really had no obligation to save him again. But it took some time to understand this truth. Dai-yun still felt quite melancholy in his heart. He sighed and said, "Can we go a little faster?" After saying this, Dai-yun saw the nose of the three-eyed golden lion move slightly, and then he heard her say, "No need, we've arrived." Then, the three-eyed golden lion suddenly lowered its body, like a cat in hunting mode, crawling slowly forward. Seeing her like this, Dai-yun's also became a little nervous, and also bent down, hiding his figure under the lush bushes in the Xingdao Great Forest. Just when he just lowered his upper body, the head of the three-eyed golden lion had already drilled into the bushes in front of him. Soon, her whole body quietly pushed aside the bushes and squeezed in. During the whole process, the bushes did not shake too much. It can be said that she was quite skilled. Seeing this, Dai Yun's hesitated for a moment, and also stretched out his hand, carefully pushed aside the bushes in front of him, and got in quickly. But as soon as he got out of the bushes, he suddenly heard a chaotic scream coming from the front, followed by the sound of a large number of birds and beasts being startled. After resounding in the forest in front for a long time, it gradually quieted down. Dai Yun's quickly got out, and then he saw the three-eyed golden lion lying on the ground, biting the neck of a soul beast with its slightly pointed mouth. Although the soul beast's limbs were still struggling, it could no longer make any sound, and its breath was gradually weakening, and it would soon die. At this time, Dai Yun's heard the three-eyed golden lion's somewhat unclear voice. "What are you waiting for? Kill it quickly and get the soul ring, otherwise it will be killed by me, and the soul ring will be wasted." Dai Yun suddenly woke up from his daze, looking at the soul beast with a pair of silver pupils, light golden stripes on its body, and an appearance like a crocodile. Then he no longer hesitated, and before it was about to be bitten to death by the three-eyed golden lion, he used mental blast and mental power to crush its brain, making its death less painful. The limbs of the crocodile-like soul beast then twitched, and then it became completely stiff, no longer struggling, and no longer moving. Black soul power light began to appear on its corpse, like bursts of materialized smoke, floating upwards, and finally all condensed into a pitch-black soul ring. Dai Yun did not hesitate, and immediately sat down cross-legged, circulated his soul power, activated the 10,000-year soul ring, and began to absorb the soul power in it, and then assimilated it into his own strength, helping himself to break through the bottleneck and officially become a soul master. Seeing Dai Yun, who had already started to absorb the soul ring, the three-eyed golden lion also loosened its mouth that was biting the soul beast's neck. After confirming that Dai Yun was fine, it began to lick its fur to clean up the blood stains. It must be said that the three-eyed golden lion with the golden fur stained with blood looked like a ferocious predator. But she would lick the fur on her hands, and then wash her face and clean herself up. Then, the three-eyed golden lion cast her eyes on the corpse of the crocodile-shaped soul beast on the ground and licked her mouth with her pink tongue. Just like she had told Dai Yun before, the brain of this crocodile-shaped soul beast is particularly delicious. In her opinion, the taste is only slightly inferior to the brain of the soul beast with the attribute of light, but for the three-eyed golden lion, it is also a very delicious delicacy. So she stretched out her sharp claws and easily peeled open the head of the crocodile-shaped soul beast. She did not completely cut open the brain of the crocodile-shaped soul beast, but only opened a small opening large enough to accommodate her sharp mouth, and then reached in to suck the brain of the soul beast. The three-eyed golden lion rolled his tongue, feeling the indescribable taste of the brain marrow that had become shredded. It was like the slurry that burst out after a certain slime soul beast died, wrapped in the disgusting taste of slime fragments, making the originally delicious brain marrow indescribable. The three-eyed golden lion immediately spit out the small bite he had just eaten, and then looked at Dai Yun, who was practicing. Previously, Dai Yun did not use physical means to kill the crocodile-shaped soul beast. So he must have used his spiritual power soul skill to directly crush the brain of the crocodile-shaped soul beast completely, thereby taking its life and obtaining its soul ring. Although this is the case, the soul beast did not feel much pain before losing its life, but her food was ruined. If it weren't for the fact that Dai Yun was still absorbing soul rings and his attributes were indeed not suitable, the three-eyed golden lion would have eaten Dai Yun's brain on the spot. The author arrived at school at 8 o'clock in the evening, and wrote the words after cleaning up, so the update is late. But fortunately it was still posted before 12 o'clock, ha 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 ha, thanks to my friends who voted for me. Have fun at the beginning of school. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 486, Barbecue for Her. It took Dai Yun an hour to absorb the 10,000-year soul ring. When he opened his eyes, a faint golden light flashed in his deep blue pupils, and his pupils also expanded and contracted, releasing a faint fierce power. So far, he has truly become a spiritual attribute strong attack system soul master. However, before Dai Yun could be happy, The three-eyed golden lion with a slightly resentful look on his face not far away broke into his field of vision. It looked like it was going to eat him. Daiyun's was a little confused. He glanced at the crocodile-like soul beast on the ground that had begun to turn cold. He spoke to break the slightly awkward situation and said, "What kind of soul beast is this? The spiritual power contained in this soul ring is so overbearing. Three-eyed golden lion, this is a silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard. It has a trace of extremely pure blood of the fear dragon. The fear dragon is a sub-dragon soul beast of the earth dragon system. Although its combat power is not strong, it is a rare spiritual dragon species, and its spiritual attributes are extremely powerful. Naturally, the silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard with a trace of fear dragon blood has quite good spiritual attributes, which also leads to their extremely developed brains and excellent taste." But now, the three-eyed golden lion glanced at the small hole that he had dug with his claws before, and could see that the brain inside had completely turned into a mushy mess, so he had no appetite at all. With just one glance, Daiyun knew what was going on. It turned out that he accidentally ruined someone's lunch. So Daiyun thought about it, and just as he felt a little hungry, he took a few steps forward and squatted in front of the body of the silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard. He stretched out his hand to pinch its short and thick legs, and then turned it over to look at its white belly. The three-eyed golden lion looked at Daiyun fiddling with the body of the silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard, and said puzzledly, "Are you looking to see if it has any soul bones? I have checked it before, and no soul bones appeared." "You don't have to look for it again." Daiyun looked up at her and couldn't help but smile, but he didn't stop checking the body of the silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard. He said, "I'm not looking to see if there are any soul bones. I'm checking its meat to see if it can be eaten. People eat crocodiles, so this silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard has the word crocodile in its name, so it should be edible." After a thorough inspection, Daiyun felt that the meat of the silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard was quite good and should be quite chewy. So he used his mental power to cut a piece off the back of the silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard. After removing the scales, he placed his palm inward and used his mental power to control the white and tender meat to float above his palm. Then, a large number of small arcs of electricity appeared in his palm. The number of arcs was quite dense, so it looked like a ball of silver-white flame. Under Daiyun's precise control, the white and tender meat was constantly roasted. Not long after, the small piece of meat cut off from the back of the silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard became a little burnt. It was at this time that Daiyun withdrew the lightning in his palm and stopped roasting it. Of course, his mental power was still maintained. He used his mental power to gently tear off a little bit of the roasted meat, put it in his mouth and tasted it. After confirming its general taste, he took out the seasonings he had placed in the storage soul guide and skillfully seasoned the crocodile meat. After putting all the seasonings in place, he grilled the crocodile meat again to make it more flavorful. In order to prevent the already somewhat burnt brown shell from becoming completely mushy, Daiyun did not grill it for long before retracting the thunderbolt. This time, he directly put the whole piece of crocodile meat into his mouth. After chewing it a little, he found a way to improve the meat quality of the silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard to fully show its delicious taste. He gave a thumbs up to the three-eyed golden lion, who was already looking at it eagerly, and said, "Not bad, it's edible. Wait for me, I'll treat you to barbecue." After that, Daiyun sat down on the ground, activated his mental power, and started a fire, cut and sorted the meat of the silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard, and applied seasoning simultaneously. Soon, one piece after another of the fragrant crocodile meat was baked out of the oven and strung together by Daiyun with the bamboo sticks he prepared for easy consumption. The skills that the three-eyed golden lion showed in order to eat also surprised Daiyun. The two front claws are obviously like dragon claws, but they can easily grasp the thin bamboo sticks like the 5 fingers of a human, and then bite all the crocodile meat on it into his mouth. After chewing it casually for 2 bites, he swallowed it hastily and turned to attack the next skewer of barbecue. Daiyun watched the three-eyed golden lion eating happily, and always felt that the scene was extremely weird. Then, when they finished eating the silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard in a short while, the three-eyed golden lion actually said to him, "I'm not full. Let's catch another silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard. Can you roast it for me like this, Daiyun? That's your soul beast. Are you polite like this?" The three-eyed golden lion did not mean to ask Daiyun for consent. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately set out and chased the previous group of silver-eyed demon crocodile lizards. Just now, I wanted to say that one sentence, which was to let Dayuns continue to roast it for her, but she just said it in a more polite way. What can Dayuns do? Although he is now a soul sect, he still can't beat the three-eyed golden lion. In this Xingdao Senka mixed area, he didn't dare to stay too far away from the three-eyed golden lion, so he could only follow it. The three-eyed golden lion was very fast this time, almost leaving Dayuns far behind. Then, when Dayuns was still struggling to identify the direction of the three-eyed golden lion's departure, the three-eyed golden lion had already dragged a larger silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard than the previous one. Dayuns looked over and found that this silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard, which was several times larger than the previous one, had also died long ago, and was still bitten on the neck by the three-eyed golden lion, a fatal blow. He took another look at the three-eyed golden lion, who was squatting obediently in the same place, sighed, and walked over to deal with the meat of the silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard without complaint, and started roasting it in the same way as before. Fortunately, he had eaten his fill just now, so the meat of this silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard should be able to go into the stomach of the three-eyed golden lion. Moreover, he did not need a spirit ring this time, so the three-eyed golden lion could also eat her favorite brain marrow. While Dayuns was roasting it, the three-eyed golden lion was eating it, and at the same time, he explained to Dayuns the age of this silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard and taught him how to identify the age of this kind of spirit beast. The one they roasted now has a cultivation level of more than 50,000 years, and a body length of more than 5 meters. We have to go back to Shrek to fight the new and old Shrek 7 devils, and then go to the competition. Thank you to the little angels who voted for me for a recommendation and monthly tickets. See you tomorrow. Classes start tomorrow, fall. Chapter 487, Movement in the Distance. Finally, the three-eyed golden lion ate a whole 50,000-year-old silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard, and its brain as a dessert. The whole lion was quite satisfied. In a good mood, she began to tell Dayuns about all the spiritual attributes soul beasts she had seen in the Xingdao Great Forest, and where those soul beasts probably lived in the Xingdao Great Forest. The original words of the three-eyed golden lion were that she did this to allow Dayuns to find the soul beasts he needed as quickly and accurately as possible, reducing the possibility of causing harm to other soul beasts. Dayuns also agreed that he would have less trouble coming to the Xingdao Great Forest to obtain soul rings when his cultivation reached a bottleneck in the future, so he wrote down everything the three-eyed golden lion said word for word. Even though he is still far from the bottleneck of level 50, the knowledge of the habits and characteristics of the spiritual attribute soul beasts that the three-eyed golden lion told him can also be very useful. Since you have successfully obtained the spirit ring, let's leave the starred out Great Forest now. Since you just grilled meat for me, I can send you to the inner area. I believe that with your current strength, the spirit beasts there will not be able to pose much of a threat to you. Dayuns looked at the three-eyed golden lion's expression of "I'll reward you if I'm in a good mood," and couldn't help but smile, and then said, "No, I may have to stay in the starred out Great Forest for a while until I find my 2 teachers, leave with them, and return to Shrek Academy." The three-eyed golden lion narrowed his eyes and said, "Didn't you say that your 2 teachers are super Douluo? With this kind of cultivation, as long as they don't go to the depths of the core area and the great evil land for their own deaths, there will be no problem at all. I don't know what you are still worried about." Dayuns smiled, looked away from her, and said, "We have to go and look for them to make sure they are okay." After hearing what he said, the three-eyed golden lion that was lying on the ground sat up and said seriously, "I know you are worried about them because they haven't appeared. But don't you think about it, with their level of cultivation, how many people in this world can threaten their lives? Even if they really get into trouble, do you think you can get involved with your level of cultivation?" What the three-eyed golden lion said did make sense, but after Dayuns thought about it for a while, he still said, "You are right, if something really happens to them, I am not qualified to get involved now. But, I believe, just like they will not let go if they see me in danger, I can't just pretend that nothing happened." Dayuns stood up from the ground, patted the dust on his pants, and continued, "I will leave first. After I find my 2 teachers and confirm that they are fine, I will leave the Xingdao Great Forest immediately." After a pause, he joked, "You don't have to worry about me, and don't worry that I will kill many soul beasts. If I accidentally meet one, I will avoid it immediately. Unless I can't run away, I will consider taking action. Can you feel more at ease if you say that?" After saying that, Dayuns looked at the three-eyed golden lion, who seemed to be thinking about something and didn't speak. Thinking that she should have acquiesced, he said, "I'm leaving." As soon as the voice fell, he turned around, chose a direction by intuition, and teleported away. Before entering the Xingdao Great Forest, Yan Xiao's and Xian Liner taught him a method of engraving a mark to prevent them from getting separated. With the help of teleportation and mental detection, he can search a large area of forest in a very short time. As long as he can find that kind of mark, he may be able to find Yan Xiao's and Xian Liner by following the trail. About 5 minutes after Dayan's left, the three-eyed golden lion made up his mind, turned into golden lightning, and followed Dayan's scent. Before leaving, she muttered softly, "Just consider it as a reward for such delicious barbecue." In fact, one thing that the three-eyed golden lion did not tell Dayan's was that the reason why she sneaked out that night was because of the guidance of the power of destiny, which guided her to power that existed at the same level as the power of destiny. And the source of the power that made him feel good was Dayan's. But when she found out that the source of that power was actually a human soul master, her instinct as a soul beast made her alert, which led to the scene when she and Dayan's met for the first time. Later, under the guidance of the power of destiny and the gradual contact with Dayan's, the three-eyed golden lion's vigilance against him was also slowly reduced. Now, she has no ill feelings towards Dayan's as a human, but because of the extremely delicious silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard barbecue, she even has some good feelings towards Dayan's. Just like she said before. Just to repay the delicious barbecue. So, she felt that she had to follow and see in case Dayan's had any accidents. After all, if Dayan's was gone, where could she eat such delicious barbecue? Dayan's figure kept flashing in the lush star forest, with the golden light flashing in his eyes, and his mental detection power was fully turned on, conducting a carpet-like exploration of the surrounding situation. After absorbing the 10,000-year soul ring of the silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard, his mental power was also improved a lot again, and the range of mental detection also increased to a diameter of 80 meters. Although the growth rate is far from Hao's speed, it still saves him a lot of effort now. After separating from the three-eyed golden lion, Dayan's has maintained such a high-intensity search for an hour. Since he lost contact with Yan Xiao's and Xian Liner unilaterally after entering the star forest, he now doesn't know where to find them. If he didn't know the character of Yan Xiao's and Xian Liner, he would have suspected that these two deans were hiding in the dark to laugh at him. After all, if Yan Xiao's and Xian Liner were fine, seeing that he had obtained the fourth spirit ring and was still looking for them in the starred out Great Forest, they would definitely show up and take him back to Shrek Academy. After searching for another 10 minutes, Dayan stopped temporarily and chose to recover his mental power a little. The spirit power was still supported by a large amount of dark demon evil god tiger energy, and the newly absorbed 10,000-year spirit ring added a lot of energy to the body, so the transmission of special ability did not consume much of his spirit power. In contrast, his mental power did not have such a huge amount of energy to replenish. Even though the consumption of mental detection was not large, he still felt a little tired after such a long time. However, when Dayan's was about to take a rest, his ears suddenly caught a huge sound of fighting coming from not far away. After obtaining a key ability, Dayan's should leave. It is expected to be the next chapter, but it is just expected. Cyrillic letter Z. Thank you to the little angels who voted for me. Love you guys today. The author had a full class. I came back from school at night and wrote English homework for another hour. Fortunately, I took some time to write during the day, otherwise I would still be typing now. RZ. Chapter 488, Joining the Bright Phoenix. To his northeast, he should have entered the mixed zone of the starred out Great Forest. He was now at the edge of the inner zone, and the noise seemed to be only a few hundred meters away from him. He hesitated for only a second before he ran over there. The one who could cause such a big noise was either a powerful soul beast or a powerful soul master. There were many powerful soul beasts in the starred out Great Forest, but as for the powerful human soul masters, Yan Xiao's and Xian Liner might be the only two. He would not let go of any situation that might be Yan Xiao's and Xian Liner. With high-frequency transmission and full speed running, he soon arrived at the place where the noise of the battle came from. Dayan's figure was still hidden behind a towering ancient tree, but his eyes had long been attracted by a piece of open space in front of him, which had been destroyed by the huge battle fluctuations and destroyed a large area of forest. At this time, several figures were floating in the air above the open space formed by countless broken trees. The most dazzling figure, with a dazzling golden light and a pair of golden phoenix wings behind him. Under the scorching sun at noon, with a blessing of the most dazzling light in the world, even though the opposite side of the bright phoenix was several powerful soul masters with monstrous evil spirits, it was not at all inferior. So far, the only bright phoenix soul master that Dai Yun's had come into contact with was Yan Shao's. And the figure that had become somewhat illusory in the strong light was Yan Shao's. As for the evil people opposite Yan Shao's, they were undoubtedly evil soul masters. When seeing those evil soul masters, Dai Yun's basically understood why Yan Shao's and Xian Liner did not appear in time when he was in danger. Maybe it was because they met these evil soul masters. Then, in this era where evil soul masters are killed by everyone, Yan Shao's and Xian Liner, who are senior executives of Shrek Academy and members of the Sea God Pavilion, naturally cannot let them go. But they came out at this time to protect Dai Yun's. So, Yan Shao's should have come to snipe these evil soul masters and let Xian Liner continue to follow Dai Yun's. Now, the reason why Xian Liner did not appear may be because she encountered another wave of evil soul masters and was hindered, which eventually led to their dispersion. After making a rough guess, Dai Yun's immediately hid his figure to prevent himself from being exposed to the sight of those evil soul masters. Then, he quietly released his spiritual eye martial soul. 4 soul rings, 1 yellow, 2 purple, and 1 black, rose from the bottom of his feet one by one. The next moment, the yellow 100-year soul ring in the first place and the black 10,000-year soul ring in the fourth place flashed at the same time. The first soul skill is the spiritual detection from the 600-year eye silkworm, needless to say. And the fourth soul ring he recently obtained, from the 13,000-year silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard, gave him an equally powerful soul skill. The fourth soul skill of the spiritual eye, spiritual invasion. As the name implies, this soul skill allows Dai Yun's mental power to invade other people's brains. Not only can his second soul skill, mental explosion, be more effective against targets with mental power greater than his, but it can also achieve the effect of telepathy. Read other people's thoughts, and even control other people's minds. Since the power can be directly controlled by Dai Yun himself, if Dai Yun uses mental invasion without any attack power on others, but only pure telepathy, he can also establish a mind connection with others to achieve a similar effect of mental sharing. In other words, after having the fourth soul skill, Dai Yun's mental detection can also be shared with others. Although his mental detection range is not as good as Hou Hao, his combat power can fully make up for this. If he is in a team battle, his role will definitely not be worse than Hou Hao. Yan Shao's, who was in a tense confrontation with the evil soul masters, was suddenly stunned. Obviously, he also felt Dai Yun's mental invasion. As a super titled Douluo, his mental power is naturally stronger than Dai Yun's, so his own mental power immediately turned into a solid barrier to isolate Dai Yun's mental power. But what surprised Yan Shao's, and even shocked him, was that Dai Yun's mental power, after being blocked, immediately condensed into a very thin strand, and then broke through his mental barrier with a point, and then, the mental power, with Dai Yun's thoughts attached, was transmitted into Yan Shao's spiritual sea. Yan Shao's only then knew that the owner of this mental power was Dai Yun's. He immediately withdrew his mental defense, allowing Dai Yun's mental invasion to be completely effective on him. And when Dai Yun's mental power completely poured into his brain, he felt a magical effect brought by mental detection, and was secretly amazed. Suddenly, the eyes of the several evil soul masters opposite him became relaxed. The next moment, Yan Shao's heard Dai Yun's voice ringing in his mind. Dean Yan, what's going on now? Where's Dean Xian? Under the fingerprint of mental detection, although Yan Shao's did not turn around, he still saw clearly where Dai Yun's was hiding now. His face remained expressionless, still looking at the evil soul master opposite calmly, and then he also replied to Dai Yun's in his mind, as you can see, we were blocked by this group of evil soul masters. About the time when you just entered the mixed zone, Dean Xian and I ran into them. At that time, they were chasing a 10,000-year-old human-faced demon spider and a 10,000-year-old mandrake snake. They probably wanted to use these two highly poisonous creatures to complete some evil secret methods. Evil soul masters like this are all unforgivable, so I went to chase these guys. Along the way, I killed a lot of their soul lords, soul sects, soul emperors, and soul saints. Now there are only these few soul Douluos left, and a title Douluo. It's just that, Although I went to chase these evil soul masters, I still asked Dean Xian to watch you. Now it seems that she may have encountered an evil soul master. How are you? Are you okay during the time we were away, Dai-Yuns? Thank you Dean Yan for your concern. I'm fine, and I successfully obtained my 4th soul ring. Yan Xiao smiled and said, that's good. You just hide well and use your soul skills to assist me there. I will deal with these evil soul masters. Dai-Yuns glanced at the evil soul master, who is the most powerful in the mental detection, and communicated mentally. Dean Yan, there are so many of them, can you handle it? Yan Xiaos, it doesn't matter. If I really can't beat them, I can take you away. I'm at least level 96, and the evil Douluo on the opposite side is only about level 92 or 93. He can't run as fast as me. Dai-Yuns, as expected, my predictions are always inaccurate. The abilities that should have been obtained in this chapter have to be postponed again once I started writing. Cyrillic letter Z. Thanks to my friends who voted for me, and thanks to my friends who voted for me. Love you. Classes are tight. See you tomorrow. Chapter 489 The Rescue of the Three-Eyed Golden Lion. No matter whether the cultivation level of the evil Douluo on the opposite side is more than 90, Dai-Yuns can't handle it anyway. So, when Yan Xiaos fought with those evil soul masters, he tried his best to hide his figure, and quietly used mental detection to assist Yan Xiaos outside the field. Originally, Dai-Yuns thought that he would hide until Yan Xiaos defeated all the evil soul masters, or couldn't beat them and took him away quickly. But he and Yan Xiaos made a big mistake at this time. That is, are the number of evil soul masters in this Xingdao Great Forest really only those who are fighting with Yan Xiaos in front of him? When Dai-Yuns suddenly felt a cold breath coming from behind, it was too late for him to take countermeasures. The evil soul master who had been hiding in the dark did not hesitate to attack when he found Dai-Yuns, the uninvited guest, and once he attacked, he went to Dai-Yuns' fatal weakness, intending to kill him with one blow. If it weren't for the golden lightning that shuttled through the green shade to save him, I'm afraid that at this time, Dai-Yuns would have been stabbed in the heart by the evil soul master and died. And the evil soul master who attacked Dai-Yuns must be very powerful and able to avoid Dai-Yuns' mental detection. Of course, this is because Dai-Yuns focused his mental detection on the battlefield in order to fully assist Yan Xiaos, and rarely took care of his own body. But when Dai-Yuns reacted from the crisis and looked intently, he suddenly found that the evil soul master who attacked him was surrounded by 2 yellow, 1 purple, and 4 black soul rings, a total of 7 circles, and the soul ring configuration was quite excellent, even not worse than Dai-Yuns'. This is the evil soul master. Not only the speed of cultivation is very fast, but also the age of the soul ring cannot imprison their strength. The special nature of their own martial souls can allow their soul rings to continue to evolve, and it is not impossible to become the top configuration of 7 black and 3 red like Yi's issue, or even a soul ring of 100,000 years. After seeing Dai-Yuns being rescued, the evil soul master of the soul saint level immediately chased after him without hesitation. On the other side, Yan Xiaos, who suddenly lost the assistance of spiritual detection, also changed his expression slightly. With his knowledge, he immediately realized that there might be other evil soul masters who had not appeared nearby, and Dai-Yuns was targeted by those evil soul masters. As the executor of the 8th man plan of the Shrek monster group, Dai-Yuns' importance to Shrek Academy is beyond doubt. Yan Xiaos also wanted to leave quickly to rescue him, but the evil Douluo and a kind of evil soul master in front of him were really entangled, so for a while, he couldn't get rid of this dilemma. He could only strive for a quick victory and then go to find Dai-Yuns. At this time, he could only hope that Dai-Yuns could escape smoothly, or perhaps, meet Xian Liner and seek shelter. Yan Xiaos' expression sank, and his whole body of soul power condensed, turning into the most violent offensive and rushing towards the evil soul masters. The one who rescued Dai-Yuns was naturally the three-eyed golden lion who secretly followed him. At this time, the three-eyed golden lion held Dai-Yuns' collar and ran wildly into the depths of the forest. Although she was very fast, she was not much faster than the evil soul saint with Dai-Yuns in her mouth. The evil soul saint was also very patient. Even though he was about to enter the core area of the Xingdao Great Forest, he still kept close to the three-eyed golden lion and chased after her. With the help of mental detection, Dai-Yuns could see the situation of the evil soul saint behind him, and he knew the current predicament. His brain was working rapidly, and then he suddenly released all 3 attack soul skills of his spiritual eyes to the evil soul saint. Mental shock, mental telekinesis, and mental invasion. The power threshold was set to the maximum. Even with his own mental power, it was difficult to break the mental defense of a soul saint and affect him. But Dai Yun's did not need to hurt the evil soul saint. He just needed to delay his pursuit speed a little bit and let the three-eyed golden lion take him to the core area successfully. Once entering the core area, it means that the three-eyed golden lion is under the protection of several beasts on the list in the Xingdao Great Forest. Even if there are a few more evil soul saints, it is not enough. But what surprised Dai Yun's was that the core area was already in front of him, but the three-eyed golden lion took him to a sharp turn, did not enter the core area, and remained in the mixed area, and moved horizontally instead. At the same time, Dai Yun's three soul skills also fell on the evil soul saint and began to take effect on him. But as expected, his three spiritual soul skills only slowed down the speed of the evil saint's pursuit, and only lasted for a moment, and did not delay it in place, allowing the three-eyed golden lion to distance himself from him. The evil soul saint still bit behind them. And then, the root of the three-eyed golden lion's action also made Dai Yun's more and more puzzled. He talked to the three-eyed golden lion through telepathy and said, "Why don't you go to the core area? Once you enter the core area, the Red King should be able to sense your location immediately and rush over quickly." The three-eyed golden lion also replied to him through telepathy, "You can't enter the core area. The power of destiny is guiding me. If I take you into the core area, Dian will definitely notice it, and you will definitely not survive." Hearing what the three-eyed golden lion said, Dai Yun's couldn't help but fall silent. The three-eyed golden lion continued, "Besides, he is just a human soul saint, not my opponent. The reason why I took you to escape is that I don't want to be too close to your human master, Dai Yun's. He won't hurt you. Compared to your one-sided words, I trust my own judgment more." The three-eyed golden lion said, "Get ready, we will be there soon. There is a forest of thunder woods, which is very effective for dealing with the evil soul masters in your mouth. After I throw you out, you should hide quickly, and I will deal with this evil soul master." Dai Yun's didn't say anything else, but just silently concentrated his mind, kept mental detection, and kept an eye on the movements of the evil soul saint behind him. Finally, as the three-eyed golden lion took him to run, Dai Yun saw in front of him that there was a piece of charred black forest that was somewhat out of place in the green forest. Like those tree trunks, the leaves in that forest were also charred black. But their lushness was the same as other places in the Xingdao Great Forest, and they also blocked out the sun. But that forest gave Dai Yun's a gloomy feeling. Just like the dark cumulonimbus clouds in the sky before a rainstorm. After I said I wanted to mumble yesterday, I suddenly felt a strong sense of guilt in my heart. But when I wanted to write tonight, I had no motivation at all. I still wanted to mumble but mumbling is not advisable, so I forced myself to write a chapter. The author has no class tomorrow morning, and will continue to make up for it. Cyrillic letter Z, mumble really can't be a habit. It's too easy to get addicted, and the guilt when mumbling, and the peace of mind of wanting to continue mumbling afterwards, all make the author a little uncomfortable. Thank you for supporting me and the little angels of this book. Love you. Chapter 492 Evil Douluo. The evil soul master who is tracking them would be led by the three-eyed golden lion to the Shyamla wood forest, and with the help of the thunder attributes restraining effect on evil spirits, the evil soul master would be killed. Dai Yun's thought things would develop in this direction. But he overlooked one point. Reality is not like the cliched script that the good easily defeats the evil. Since he is an evil soul master, it is impossible for him not to know the Shyamla wood forest, a place with extremely rich thunder elements and a great restraining effect on them. Moreover, is the evil soul master chasing them really the only one behind them? Undoubtedly, this is an extremely fatal mistake. When the three-eyed golden lion was holding Dai Yun's and was about to rush into the Shyamla wood forest, a shadow suddenly appeared at the edge of the forest, surrounded by 9 soul rings that exceeded the normal ratio, and condensed a palm of terrifying power, and fiercely slapped Dai Yun's who was held in front of the three-eyed golden lion. At this point, it is already very obvious. Among the evil soul masters this time, there is more than one evil soul master at the title Douluo level. Although he couldn't see the face of the evil Douluo who was blocking his way, Dai Yun's was sure that he was not the evil Douluo who had fought with Yan Xiao's before. However, now was not the time to dwell on these things. The important thing was how Dai Yun's could avoid the palm strike from evil Douluo. A blow from a title Douluo, even if it was just a casual blow, was enough to kill a small soul sect master like him. The three-eyed golden lion naturally saw the evil Douluo who was blocking his way in front of him at the first moment. Dai heard the three-eyed golden lion behind him making a series of threatening low growls in his throat, and he used his front limbs to leap to the side and avoid the palm strike from evil Douluo that was sent to Dai. He did avoid it, but the timing of the avoidance was a bit extreme. Dai still felt a faint sense of coldness lingering around him, but under the power of his own extreme evil attribute, it did not cause any harm to him. After all, the evil soul master was a titled Douluo after all, and his speed was extremely fast. If it weren't for the special nature of the three-eyed golden lion, she and Dai would have fallen under the power of that palm today. The three-eyed golden lion dodged and glanced at the evil Douluo, and then continued to run into the Liu wood forest in front of him. However, just as the three-eyed golden lion was about to jump into the range of the Liu wood forest with Dai, a black light suddenly burst out at the place where the three-eyed golden lion was about to land, and she and Dai, who was in her mouth, were blown back together, and then fell heavily to the ground. Since Dai was held in the front by the three-eyed golden lion, most of the power of the suddenly exploded black light was borne by Dai, and the three-eyed golden lion behind was not affected much. However, the power of the black light was also at the level of titled Douluo, so even though Dai was protected by the dual extreme attributes of extreme evil and extreme darkness, he was still seriously injured. It was a good result that he did not faint on the spot. At this time, Dai fell to the ground, with blood on the corner of his mouth. One hand covering his abdomen, and only able to use the elbow of the other hand to support his body, looking at the place where the explosion just happened, looking at another figure surrounded by 9 soul rings. Another evil soul master at the level of titled Douluo. Dai glanced at the three-eyed golden lion who was trying to stand up not far from him. In fact, he could not see it clearly. The three-eyed golden lion who was very close to him was just a blurry golden ball in his field of vision, not to mention the newly appeared evil Douluo who was farther away from him, who was completely a black shadow. He looked at the three-eyed golden lion who stood up, watching her growl threateningly at the 3 evil soul masters who were gradually approaching. Dai looked at her, and the first thought that came to his mind was to ask her to leave quickly. But he opened his mouth, but he couldn't say anything. He was so badly injured that he didn't have the strength to speak. And perhaps subconsciously, he didn't want the three-eyed golden lion to abandon him and run away, leaving him alone here to die. The three-eyed golden lion is as powerful as a 100,000-year soul beast, and it is certain that it can escape from the hands of these 3 evil soul masters, and even call on the Red King and other fierce beasts for revenge. But he is such a small soul master, he will definitely not be able to wait for the Red King to come, and those evil soul masters will definitely kill him directly, and that is just a matter of convenience. Not to mention the titled Douluo, even in front of the Soul Saint evil soul master who chased them first, he, a soul master, is not worth mentioning. If the evil soul saint chased them because he found out that Dai was secretly helping Yan Shao's and was then rescued by the three-eyed golden lion, then the reason why the 2 titled Douluo evil soul masters appeared later was probably because they recognized the identity of the three-eyed golden lion. Although the spirit ring of the Emperor's auspicious beast cannot be absorbed by humans, if it falls into the hands of an evil soul master, the fate of the three-eyed golden lion will definitely not be good. They don't care whether they can absorb the spirit ring of the three-eyed golden lion, because they have many ways to take away the power of the three-eyed golden lion. Although Dai is now looking in the direction of the three-eyed golden lion, even though he is seriously injured, he can still sense the cold breath of the evil soul master approaching. He turned his head and met the cold eyes of the 2 titled Douluo evil soul masters. Suddenly, his spirit was shaken, as if he had been hit by a soul shock, which made his already bad condition worse. Fortunately, the 2 evil Douluos did not keep their eyes on him for long, and turned to look at the three-eyed golden lion on the other side. The auspicious beast of the Emperor, Dai heard one of them say this, and his voice was just like him, gloomy and cold, like a poisonous snake lurking in the dark, silently swallowing its tongue, waiting to deliver a fatal blow at any time. At the same time, the evil soul saint who attacked Dai at the beginning also came over, stood beside Dai, stared at him, and looked like he would end his life at any time. Obviously, the 2 evil Douluos were not interested in him, and focused all their attention on the three-eyed golden lion. And the task of watching over him, a small soul master, was naturally given to the evil soul saint. Another evil Douluo laughed and said, "I didn't expect that an imperial beast would appear in this starred-out great forest. It's really rare. If I'm not mistaken, This should be the three-eyed golden lion that holds the power of destiny, right? It's a pity that the power of destiny cannot be taken away. But I'm very interested in its extreme fire attribute. The evil Douluo who first mentioned the identity of the three-eyed golden lion as an imperial beast. Although the power of destiny cannot be taken away, it can still be forcibly given. Later, we will work together to control it and divide the power of destiny in its third eye equally. Oops, it's too late and I didn't make up for the update. Sorry. Originally I was supposed to update twice on Friday to make up for it, but I was dragged by my roommate to play Genshin Impact halfway through, and I played it for 3 days. The author hasn't revealed his identity as a writer in front of his roommate, and I'm a little socially anxious. Actually, I'm just embarrassed, so it's hard to refuse. It's a pity that you've waited for so many days. Cyrillic letter Z. However, what the author wants to say is that running around in Genshin Impact is so much fun. Chapter 491 Escape Again. As an outsider who knows the plot, Dayuns naturally knows what they mean by taking away the power of destiny in the third eye of the three-eyed golden lion. He also knows this method, but at the same time, he also knows what it means to the three-eyed golden lion. In the original work, after Hou alone took away half of the power of destiny in the Eye of Destiny, the three-eyed golden lion had already become somewhat weak. If it had not been nourished by the gold of life at the same time, it is likely that the three-eyed golden lion would need to recuperate for thousands of years. So, if two people at the same time receive the power of destiny of the three-eyed golden lion, what would be the fate of the three-eyed golden lion? Dayuns didn't know, but this did not prevent him from associating it with the worst ending. But what else can he do now? Even if he is in full condition, can he get away with two titled Douluo and a soul sage? Now, he could only look at the three-eyed golden lion. The blue eyeballs stood out in the whites of the eyes that were covered with bright red and almost oozing blood. But in these eyes that were almost unable to focus, there was hope. It seemed like a prayer that he didn't want to die here today. It seemed like an expectation that he didn't want to be abandoned here. But it seemed that the most inside was the determination to let her leave this place quickly. After that last look, Dayuns' remaining consciousness was completely wiped out by the severe pain that continued to come from all over his body. He could no longer support his body and fell to the ground. And when a person fell, it was like a chain reaction. His mouth began to ooze out blood like a spring. The three-eyed golden lion, who had seen everything, suddenly looked up to the sky and let out a long roar, and his whole body burned with dazzling golden light like flames. A loud boom sounded in the sky, attracting the attention of all three evil soul masters. At the same time, the sky darkened, and the surrounding light also darkened. The three-eyed golden lion, with dazzling golden flames all over its body, became a new light source. A mysterious aura began to appear in the forest, and then suddenly turned into terrifying pressure, which made the two evil Douluos stagnate. As for the evil soul saint with a weaker cultivation, he knelt on the ground under this harmful pressure, and was deprived of consciousness in the mysterious aura and died silently. Almost at the same time, a golden light column fell from the sky and hit one of the evil Douluos fiercely. Only his figure could be seen turning into a black shadow in the golden light column, and then the black shadow gradually faded and disappeared. The other evil Douluo, whose cultivation was stronger, narrowly avoided the moment when the golden light column fell from the sky. In this short time, the three-eyed golden lion turned into golden lightning, and in the blink of an eye, it passed over the golden light column that still connected the sky and the earth, and the evil Douluo who survived by chance, and suddenly passed over the unconscious Dayuns who fell to the ground, and then flashed all the way to the depths of the forest. When the golden lightning disappeared, the golden light column connecting the sky and the earth also turned into countless light points and dissipated between the sky and the earth, and the evil Douluo who was hit had long disappeared. There was no body left. Dayuns, who was unconscious on the ground before, also disappeared. The surviving evil Douluo had a gloomy face and stood in place, and did not immediately chase after the fleeing three-eyed golden lion. Perhaps, the blow that the three-eyed golden lion had just killed his companion in seconds had scared him out of his wits. That power was quite unfamiliar to him, but it did not prevent him from guessing the identity of that power. Destiny, the unique power of destiny of the three-eyed golden lion. Only this kind of power at the top can silently and easily take away the life of a titled Douluo. With the previous scene clearly in front of him, he naturally couldn't help but be afraid of it. But even so, the greed in his heart did not decrease, but became more and more intense. He didn't believe that the three-eyed golden lion had not paid any price for that attack. He didn't believe that the three-eyed golden lion could still make that attack just now. He glanced at the body of the evil soul saint kneeling on the ground, and then his figure turned into black smoke and disappeared into the forest. Although the three-eyed golden lion had disappeared, the bloody smell on Dayun's body still remained in this forest, which just became the best clue for the evil Douluo to track the three-eyed golden lion. The deeper you go into the starred-out great forest, the stronger the breath of life in the air becomes. The three-eyed golden lion was shrouded in golden light, and sadness carried the unconscious Dayun and ran in the starred-out great forest. At this time, she had already led Dayun deep into the core area. As for whether this would attract the attention of the three-headed red demon Ao, she could no longer care so much. The power of fate clearly told her that the life breath of the human behind her was rapidly decreasing. If he was not treated, he would really die here today. And the three-eyed golden lion happened to know a person who could easily cure Dayun. As long as Dayun still had a breath left, he could save him. That was the queen and patriarch of the Emerald Swan, Biji, who ranked fourth among the 10 fierce beasts and had a cultivation of nearly 600,000 years. The healing ability of the Emerald Swan is the strongest among all soul beasts. Its status among soul beasts is equivalent to the top healing martial spirit among human soul masters, the nine-hearted begonia. Emerald swans with cultivation like Biji can, to a certain extent, revive the dead and bring the dead back to life. Biji is the wife of Emperor Tian. Like other fierce beasts in the Xingdao Great Forest, they all live in the most fierce place in the center of the Xingdao Great Forest. If the three-eyed golden lion wants to save Dayun, she must take him to the fierce place to meet Biji. But that also means that Dayun will be exposed to the eyes of Emperor Tian and other fierce beasts, and the three-eyed golden lion cannot be sure whether Emperor Tian can tolerate a human being appearing in the lake of life. She doesn't want to think so much. Now, in her opinion, the most important thing is undoubtedly to save Dayun. She can certainly go to find other emerald swans to heal Dayun. But the Xingdao Great Forest is so big that Dayun may have died by the time he finds other emerald swans. The safest way that the three-eyed golden lion can think of is to ask Biji for help. As for Emperor Tian, she thinks that with her relationship with Emperor Tian, if she insists on saving Dayun, it should be possible. At most, when Biji heals Dayun, she will immediately take him out of the Xingdao Great Forest. After that, Emperor Tian would at most confine her for a few thousand years, not that long. In the few days without updating, the author went back to work on Genshin Impact, and yesterday, he finished Thunder General. It happened to be the Mid-Autumn Festival holiday, so I started writing and updating again, and then I found that writing became extremely difficult. Cyrillic letter Z. I will continue tomorrow. Chapter 492 The Three-Eyed Golden Lion's Choice, Destiny Leads. The three-eyed golden lion had planned everything. How to take Dayun away, how to heal the wounds of the seriously injured and dying. At present, everything seems to be going smoothly according to the plan. However, the trajectory of fate reminds her all the time that this journey is not as smooth as she thought. And the ups and downs that are placed across the trajectory of fate, blocking all possibilities there, making it impossible for her to see the future direction of her fate, are in the near future. A fierce light suddenly appeared in the eyes of the three-eyed golden lion, and the body turned into golden lightning, and suddenly flashed to the side, avoiding the place where she was before, and the black mist suddenly gushed out from the ground. The three-eyed golden lion retreated to the side and looked vigilantly at the evil Douluo, who was shrouded in black mist not far away. The evil Douluo's eyes were emitting a bloody red light, and two hideous mouths were broken in the thick black mist around him. Being stared at by the pair of scarlet eyes, even the extremely special three-eyed golden lion could faintly sense a hint of threat. For a while, both sides just stared at each other, and no one made any move. But the three-eyed golden lion couldn't afford to waste time, because Dayun's vital signs were still weakening, and any delay could lead to irreversible consequences. So the three-eyed golden lion just looked at the evil Douluo fiercely, and the next moment, it turned into golden lightning again, trying to distance itself, bypass him, and continue to flee into the depths of the forest. But before she ran far, she had to stop again, because the figure of the evil Douluo appeared in front of her again. The three-eyed golden lion didn't care about being surprised at the evil soul master's amazing speed, and changed direction and continued to run, but within 3 seconds, she stopped again, looking at the evil Douluo who was still blocking her eyes. Her eyes became more and more fierce. Under the gaze of the Eye of Destiny, The three-eyed golden lion finally discovered that the black fog that had spread to the surroundings of the forest made the forest, which had little light, even darker. In the perception of the three-eyed golden lion, the place covered by the black fog has the aura of the evil Douluo that she hates extremely. It's the domain. Unknowingly, the evil Douluo has quietly unfolded a domain skill and dragged the three-eyed golden lion into it. It's no wonder that the evil Douluo can block the three-eyed golden lion's way with such a fast speed and incomparable accuracy. Now, the only choice left in front of the three-eyed golden lion is to fight. But she has no confidence that she can defeat an evil Douluo in the domain of the title Douluo. Just as the evil Douluo guessed, she will not be able to use the judgment of the power of fate that killed a title Douluo in one blow again in a short time. So now, if she really wants to fight this evil soul master, then she can only confront him head-on. In this way, even if she has the strength comparable to a 100,000-year soul beast, her chances of winning in front of an evil soul master at the title Douluo level are only 50%. Unfortunately, she is now carrying a seriously injured and dying Dai Yuns. If they really fight, she will not have the upper hand anyway. Even if she has and controls the power of destiny, her cultivation is there after all. And she only has part of the power of destiny. In the case of having used this fatal destiny judgment, she cannot gain an advantage in such a battle in a short period of time. For the three-eyed golden lion, the best choice now is to abandon Dai Yuns so that she can fight this evil Douluo with all her strength, or run away with all her strength. I believe that as long as Dai Yuns is gone, whether she fights head-on or runs away, this evil Douluo can't do anything to her. After all, Dai Yuns is a human. Just a human she has only met a few times. They don't even know each other, because the three-eyed golden lion doesn't even know Dai Yuns' name. And Dai Yuns hasn't taken the initiative to introduce himself since he met the three-eyed golden lion. For her, the only connection between her and Dai Yuns was the vague sense of connection brought to her by the Eye of Destiny, and the extremely delicious roasted silver-eyed demon crocodile lizard meat. No matter from which aspect, Dai Yuns was not worth her doing this. She could have just left Dai Yuns alone and didn't even have to bear any psychological burden for it. But, perhaps it was really as that extremely powerful human said. When she felt a vague entanglement between the fates and chose to sneak out of the core area, she could no longer extricate herself from it. And at this moment, she finally saw clearly the scene after the bumpy road on the trajectory of fate. That was the way to break the deadlock at this moment. The three-eyed golden lion had a feeling of sudden enlightenment at this time. Yes. From the beginning to the end. She still had a way to save Dai Yuns. That method was in herself. More appropriately, it was in her Eye of Destiny. It was in the guidance of the mysterious power of destiny. The three-eyed golden lion suddenly retracted the fierce look on his face and sighed softly. Regardless of the evil Douluo who was staring at him, a fiery golden light suddenly burned on his body. In the dazzling golden light, even though the evil Douluo, who had a strong cultivation in domain skills, could not help but raise his hand to cover his eyes, and he was afraid to look directly at such a dazzling light. As the golden light became more and more blazing, it was faintly stained with a little bit of faint rose red, and it was still deepening, and finally completely turned into a beautiful rose gold. Then, a phantom rose up from the bright rose gold ball, wrapped in a ball of golden light, floating quietly in the air, and then a figure emerged from it. That was undoubtedly Dai Yuns, who had been carried on the back of the three-eyed golden lion and was seriously injured and fell into a coma. In the golden light, the blood on the corner of his mouth gradually faded, and then slowly descended. When he approached the rose gold light that wrapped the three-eyed golden lion below, the golden light around him became strong and dazzling again, covering his entire body again. When the golden light around Dai Yuns touched the rose gold light below, it was suddenly swallowed and assimilated. At the same time, the rose gold light, visible to the naked eye, had a very obvious moment of stillness. Douluo also realized something at the same time. His expression changed, and it seemed that there was a bit of unwillingness in it, and he quickly rushed towards the rose gold light. But in the end, it was still a step too late. A strange light spread out from the rose gold light, freezing Douluo's forward figure in midair. Then, the rose gold light suddenly had an extremely unstable tremor, as if it would explode in the next moment. But in the end, it was not an explosion. Instead, it was another extremely strange light, bursting outward from the rose gold light. I paused for a long time while thinking and writing this chapter. because the original decision was to let Daiyuns obtain the Eye of Destiny from the three-eyed golden lion. In a more comedic way, like walking in the forest, Daiyun suddenly fell, and then happened to touch forward with a three-eyed golden lion. Later, he was chased by the evil soul master. During the escape of Daiyuns and the three-eyed golden lion, Daiyuns accidentally fell on the three-eyed golden lion, and touched forward with her, thus obtaining the Eye of Destiny. But you know me, as I was writing, I infinitely postponed the plot that should have been written soon. So after so long, my inspiration kept changing, and finally it became the current version. In fact, before this version, there was another one, in which the three-eyed golden lion took Daiyuns away and accidentally let Daiyuns receive his fate, or Daiyuns obtained the Eye of Destiny under various coincidences. But the Eye of Destiny, which could have been obtained a long time ago, has been delayed until now, and I don't want to delay it any longer. Although I also want to describe this part in detail, I finally decided to use the current version of the plot. The three-eyed golden lion took the initiative to guide Daiyuns' destiny. As for the motive for doing so, I threw it all to Tang Liu, making Tang Liu once again a troublemaker in the open, rather than the creator of various tiny coincidences in secret. At the beginning, although I felt a little dissatisfied, as I wrote, new inspiration came, and I felt it was particularly suitable. In short, the author continues to write. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 493 Time and Destiny. Half of it was a gorgeous rose gold color full of vastness, which permeated all the places that the sight could reach. The trees covered by the strange light became somewhat illusory and unreal. But this extremely beautiful light only occupied half of the space within the sight. From the center point where the light burst out, there was another, more peculiar light that could compete with the power of fate. It was a colorless, transparent light. Yes, it was quite strange. It should not be a light that could be captured by human eyes. But you can find that the place where the sight stopped was lit up, and that strange colorless light was lit up. And in the place covered by that colorless light, everything was in a somewhat weird state of stillness. Including Douluo, who was rushing towards the point where the light burst out. It was precisely because of this extremely strange colorless light that he was weirdly still in midair. He could not move at all. And the explosion of the two kinds of light was far from over. The intoxicating rose gold and the strange colorless light entangled and swirled in the air, turning into a huge pillar of light that was enough to shake the world. It seemed that the origins attracted each other, and it seemed that they met a worthy opponent. Until the sky became dim because of the light pillar that kept emitting the breath of the ancient times, and finally only the two equally strange lights were left, standing between heaven and earth, becoming the only dazzling existence. The light waves mixed with transparent patterns in the rose gold, with a pillar of light standing in the sky as the center, suddenly spread outward like layers of waves on the sea. The evil Douluo, who was originally completely still in the air, was also pushed outward at an unimaginable speed under this wave of light. But at the same time, his thoughts that had been solidified for a long time also became active again, but his scarlet eyes still reflected the shadow of the light pillar. Although his figure was retreating rapidly, the light pillar in his field of vision did not show any signs of shrinking, as if it was moving with him. What made Douluo even more difficult to understand was that his body was clearly flying backwards at an unimaginable speed, and was constantly breaking every tree it hit, but his body did not feel the slightest pain, even though he was extremely conscious at the moment. Puzzled, he once again looked at the pillar of light connecting the sky and the earth. Then that puzzlement became the last thought in his life. Everything in front of him dimmed. After the pillar of light that supported the sky suddenly flashed, the vision became completely dark. Only a huge golden dragon head remained, like a lifelike painting, suddenly appearing in front of his eyes that had already become dark. The next second, the only dragon eye on the dragon head suddenly opened, like a meteor streaking across the sky, like lightning tearing through the night sky. The light bursting out of the fierce eyes suddenly formed an eye condensed from illusory rose gold light, just like the Eye of Destiny on the forehead of the three-eyed golden lion. The only difference was that the eye condensed from the light did not have the bright sun pattern around the Eye of Destiny, but only two long trails of light at the corners and ends of the eyes, like frozen lightning, or the tail flame of a meteor. And the illusory rose gold eye. In the next second after it appeared, The dazzling light covered the picture like a golden dragon held behind it in darkness. The light seemed to be eternal and unchanging. It was also like the beautiful beauty that gave away everything in an instant. With a long time and the vastness of fate, it condensed into a majestic divine light. So in the second before Douluo's life disappeared, there was only the majesty that flashed when the eye opened in his eyes. He didn't even have time to see the light dissipate. His consciousness was forever sunk into the endless darkness. Only a long, majestic, and faint dragon roar echoed in his already broken soul. When Douluo died, as if confirming something, the light waves that pushed out from the light column suddenly stopped. After a second of pausing, they began to turn around and kept gathering towards the light column that connected the sky and the earth. Where the light wave gently brushed past, the trees that were broken by Douluo were like a pair of invisible hands slowly lifting them up and then reconnecting them to the tree stumps. Time was turning back. No matter what the wound was, it would eventually recover as before under the erosion of time. Including the light column that stood tall and straight, including the world that became dim because of the appearance of the light column. Only the three-eyed golden lion wrapped in the light column and Daiyuns were still hanging in the air with their foreheads touching each other, slowly rotating and landing on the ground, with their eyes closed, as if their consciousness was not yet fully awake. At this time of destiny, the powerful and strange power that bloomed made their bodies somewhat transparent, so that they could vaguely see that the eye of destiny was open at the place where their foreheads touched, and the pupils were full of curiosity, flashing, as if constantly reading and exchanging something. Even better, the injuries on Daiyun's body had long disappeared, and all were restored to their original state. I just don't know whether it was due to the power of destiny brought from the three-eyed golden lion, or some strange power equivalent to the power of destiny. Tang Liu looked at the gorgeous rose gold light column with transparent patterns rising into the sky, and couldn't help but sigh a little. Cause and effect, fate, time. This time, he finally used the power of fate to completely activate the time hidden in his body, but I actually think that the second spiritual C he obtained at the same time is his biggest gain this time. After all, there is no guy like Xianmeng Ice Silkworm in his spiritual C. Funi next to him complained. Yes, the guy in his mind is you who behaves extremely unreliable, Tang Liu. Funi ignored Tang Liu who was stabbed in the heart, and looked towards the direction of the depths of the Xingdao Great Forest, slightly worried. Such a big movement, won't it alarm those guys inside? And those two human titled Douluo. Tang Liu smiled, turned around and walked a few steps. His steps actually revealed a little excitement. After that, he looked back at Funi and said meaningfully, maybe, they're all my people. Funi was stunned. Huh? Taking a deep breath, Daiyuns woke up from the endless darkness of his consciousness and suddenly opened his eyes. He jumped up almost immediately from where he was at the moment, looking around with great vigilance, and then in the next second, the sharp breath on his body softened, and his expression was quite puzzled. Because the scene he saw was his dormitory in Shrek Academy. But shouldn't he be in the Stardao Great Forest? Why did he suddenly return to the dormitory? And what about the three-eyed golden lion? With such doubts, he slowly walked to the door of the dormitory, hesitated for a moment, and pushed the door open. He wanted to find someone to ask clearly what happened. Stardao Great Forest, core area. On the soft grass with scattered sunlight shining through the leaves, the three-eyed golden lion lay there comfortably with a pair of front paws, reading the new memories in his mind over and over again. She looked at a human girl with a golden spear and long pink and blue hair in her memory, and her eyes were gradually filled with an extremely strong curiosity. Wang Kitter. Is that me? Woohoo, help. After the Mid-Autumn Festival, my child was confused by all the homework and experiments that came out of nowhere. I will start typing with full force tomorrow and resume updating. Woohoo, everyone, happy National Day. Chapter 494 Training. 14 days have passed. In the office of Du Whelan, the head teacher of the martial soul department of Shrek Academy, Daiyuns looked at Du Whelan, who was sitting behind the desk with a confused look on his face. Du Whelan pushed his glasses and conveyed the words Yan Xiaozi had told him to the young man in front of him one by one. That's right. 14 days have passed since you went to get the soul ring. Dean Yan and Dean Xian found you on the 5th day. At that time, they found you unconscious in the forest, but there were no signs of injury. After checking you, they found that your soul power had also broken through level 40, so they brought you back first. But after that, you have been in a coma and there is no sign of waking up. Later, after the inspection and speculation of the senior management of the academy, You should have entered a state similar to deep meditation, and you didn't wake up until today." Dayun still looked confused. "Is that so?" Douluo asked curiously. "Don't you remember why you were unconscious?" Dayun hesitated, and then said, "I only remember that I was chased by that evil soul master." Although Douluo was still curious, he did not ask any more questions. He just said, "Din Yan asked me to ask you about your fourth soul ring when you wake up. So, from which soul beast did you hunt your fourth soul ring? After all, it is not easy to find a powerful soul beast with spiritual attributes." Since this was not a secret that could not be told, Dayun did not hide it and revealed to Douluo the origin and age of his fourth soul ring. Of course, he would not just say that about the existence of the three-eyed golden lion. Just like he did not tell what happened after he was chased by the evil soul master. Perhaps, until now, Yan Xiao still thinks that only the evil soul saint was chasing him at that time. However, no matter what happened between the three-eyed golden lion and him after that, and how they finally escaped from the hands of those evil soul masters, even if Dayun himself is not sure now, he will never reveal even a little content to others before he has to tell it. "Douluo, since you are fine, don't forget to gather at the fighting arena after school this afternoon. Today is the day that Master Zhuan will lead you to practice. You have missed the previous 2 times. This time, he hopes that you can be there." Dayun was stunned for a moment, and then he remembered this matter. But he didn't say anything more. He nodded, indicating that he knew it, and then he took his leave and returned to his dormitory. When he woke up, it was already afternoon that day. There was no point in going to class again. It would be better to meditate for a while and check his current physical condition. After all, it was more than 10 days since he last meditated. Of course, there was another thing that Dayun was more concerned about, that is, his hair, eyebrows, etc. that were accidentally burned by the three-eyed golden lion all grew back magically. He didn't know what happened, which made him more curious about what happened after he fainted. When Dayun walked into the fighting arena, 2 teams were neatly arranged in the center of the wide venue. With a place where Master Zhuan stood as the dividing line, the 2 teams were mixed with the 7 people from the outer courtyard and the 7 men and women wearing the red skull uniforms of the inner courtyard disciples. There was no doubt that the 7 people wearing red school uniforms were the Shrek 7 devils of this generation. And the tall girl standing in the left team, with long bright red hair, looked extremely dazzling and could firmly attract the attention of others at a glance. Dayun confirmed her identity the first time he saw her. It was the most talented evil fire phoenix spirit master in the inner courtyard, Mazaya Ateo, a flame demon who had reached the 67th level of cultivation at a young age. Now there were only these people on the entire fighting spirit field. Even though the 2 generations of Shrek 7 devils were receiving training from Master Zhuan, it was difficult not to notice the sudden appearance of Dayun. Everyone's eyes turned to Dayun, who suddenly broke in at the same time, so Dayun's eyes just happened to meet Mazaya Ateo, who stood upright next to Master Zhuan. In fact, this was the first time that Dayun and Mazaya Ateo had officially met. The last time Mazaya Ateo showed up and saved Hou Yuhao and Wang Dong, who were being chased by the assassins of the Duke's mansion, Dayun only glanced at Mazaya Ateo from a distance, so it was not wrong to say that this was the first time the 2 had met. For most of the people on the field now, especially the 7 monsters in the inner court, Dayun was a stranger they didn't know at all. Their expressions were more or less full of doubts and curiosity about Dayun's arrival. The powerful Zhuan Lao had discovered Dayun the moment he entered the fighting spirit field. When he saw Dayun, he immediately smiled and called him over. Seeing this, Dayun immediately trotted, stood beside Zhuan Lao, and respectfully greeted him. Elder Zhuan looked Dayun up and down, nodded slightly and smiled. "Not bad, not bad." Dayun took a look at Elder Zhuan's smiling face and guessed that he must have seen that his soul power had broken through to level 40 and his cultivation had reached the soul sect realm. After observing Dayun, Elder Zhuan turned his head and looked at the 14 people standing on both sides. Regardless of the fact that some of these people actually knew Dayun, he directly introduced them to everyone. "Listen carefully, little guys, his name is Dayun, and he will train with you in the future. He did not participate in the previous training sessions because he had reached the level 40 soul power bottleneck and was taken by your teacher to obtain the 4th soul ring." At this point, Elder Zhuan paused, and his eyes swept meaningfully around the inner courtyard disciples on both sides, whose eyes gradually became curious, and then continued, "As for why Dayun would train with you, put away your curiosity and train with peace of mind. This involves the decision of the college's top management, and it is not convenient for me to reveal too much to you." Elder Zhuan laughed strangely, looking mysterious. But even if he didn't say it explicitly, the inner court disciples, who were smarter than each other, had already guessed something. Looking at Dai-Yun's, who was neither humble nor arrogant beside Master Zhuan, a trace of surprise and solemnity gradually emerged in their expressions. As for Dai-Yun's, who was at the center of this topic, there was still no extra expression on his face at this moment. Even though he was curious about why he would train with the 2 generations of Shrek, 7 devils, he would not let others see it so directly. Chapter 495, Joining the Battle. In short, it's just training with 2 generations of Shrek 7 devils, no big deal. As for whether it will cause changes in the timeline, to be honest, Dai-Yun's is not willing to think about it now. Just like that guy said, he is not from this universe. As long as he still exists in this universe, even if it is just normal breathing, it may trigger an uncontrollable chain reaction. So, instead of being nervous to avoid all the possibilities of the butterfly effect, it is better to exist naturally. Just like now, didn't that guy jump out to stop him from causing the timeline change because of this incident? Okay, let's get to know each other and arrange it by yourselves after today's training is completed. Now you start today's training, and everything will be done according to what I just said. Dai-Yun's, you just watch from the side with me, Zhuanlao waved his hand and said. Then, Dai-Yun's all the 7 people on both sides began to retreat, and they stopped only after retreating dozens of meters, looking at each other, and they all looked eager to try. After seeing that both sides were ready, Elder Zhuan in the center of the field gave an order and said start. Then, a figure flashed and disappeared in the fighting arena. Dai-Yun's, who had been standing next to him, also disappeared with him. After Elder Zhuan said start, the 2 teams, which were 100 meters apart, also moved at the same time. For a while, the field was full of brilliant soul rings and endless soul skill light effects. Dai-Yun's was led by Elder Zhuan and floated in the air, watching the battle silently in a manner that would not affect the battle situation in the fighting arena below. Of course, due to the special nature of Elder Zhuan's martial spirit, he was not just watching there at this time. He still held a chicken leg in one hand and a wine gourd in the other, eating with relish. Of course, although Elder Zhuan seemed to enjoy the meal, he was still paying attention to the battle situation below. When Hao used the simulated soul skill to transform into the real body of the Ice Emperor and the Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion, and simulated the frightening aura of the 400,000-year-old beast, he still spit out a mouthful of wine, and immediately dodged down toward the battle. Dai-Yun's, who was left in the air, watched all this happen silently, secretly thinking that the timeline had not changed at all, and it was still developing slowly according to the plot of the original novel. A moment later, Zhuanlao came back, and the battle below was able to continue. However, at this time, Ling Luchen, the Soul King with Ice Element Martial Spirit and the Control System Soul Master in Dai Yu Heng's team, had been eliminated. Now she was floating next to Dai-Yun's, watching the battle with him. This cold beauty looked at Hao, who was standing at the end with only 2 white soul rings on his body, without saying a word, as if thinking about something. This look was somewhat similar to Dai-Yun's. When Ling Luchen came up, he was only slightly attracted by the powerful soul power fluctuations of the Ice Element Control System Soul King and the faint chill that still remained on the other party. After looking at the other party, he continued to watch the battle below. The battle ended with a phoenix meteor shower with terrifying heat from Mazaya Ateo, the decisive martial arts fusion skill of Hao and Wang Dong, and the brilliant light of the Golden Road, and ended with a defeat of Dai Yu Heng's team. Seeing this, Zhuanlao also brought Dai-Yun's and Ling Luchen back to the fighting spirit field and announced the victory of Mazaya Ateo's team. After Ling Luchen returned to the team, he asked everyone to recover their soul power on the spot and then continue training. Dai-Yun's, who still had not been clearly arranged by Zhuanlao, could only stay beside Zhuanlao honestly, looking a little idle. However, when he saw Dai Yu Heng saying "I am a pig" with an unconvinced look on his face, he felt quite happy. After an hour, perhaps estimating that the soul power of both sides had recovered, Zhuanlao in the field took the lead to stand up, wake up all the people who were meditating on both sides, and then said, "Let's continue the training now." Hearing this, the 14 students stood up and were about to retreat, ready to continue fighting. But then Elder Zhuan laughed and said, "Don't worry, little guys. What's the point of fighting the same battle? How about this, Hao? Wang Dong, you two switch with Yao Haoxun. Amidst the puzzled looks on everyone's faces, Ho Yu Hao and Wang Dong walked to Dai Yu Hang's team, while Yao Haoxun came behind Ma Ateo. After both sides stood still, Ma Ateo looked at Elder Zhuan in confusion and asked, Elder Zhuan, are you going to let the 6 of us fight the 8 of them? Elder Zhuan looked at her and smiled, of course not. I have always been fair. How could I let you 6 fight 8? After saying that, his eyes fell on Dai Yun's who had been standing beside him. Following Elder Zhuan's gaze, everyone on the field also looked at Dai Yun's at this moment. Elder Zhuan patted Dai Yun's on the shoulder and smiled, go, Dai Yun's, do well. Dai Yun's was stunned for a moment, and then realized that Elder Zhuan wanted him to join Ma Ateo's team and continue the next training. He hesitated for a moment, because this was not something in the plot at all. He was not sure whether his joining the battle would trigger some uncontrollable butterfly effect. But at the moment, he had no reason to refuse Zhuan Lao. After all, this was just a simple training. So, Dai Yun's hesitated for a moment, then walked towards Ma Ateo's team, and then stood silently at the back. On the field, everyone's eyes followed Dai Yun's until he stood still with his head slightly lowered. Looking at Dai Yun's who said nothing, Ma Ateo couldn't help but said to Master Zhuan, Master Zhuan, what kind of talk is this? Even if he joins us, don't we still have one less person than Dai Yu Heng and his team? Yao Haoxun, who had just joined, also complained, yes, Master Zhuan, even if most of their team members are reserve players, we are actually one less person. This is not fair at all. Master Zhuan frowned and said, shut up, I am giving orders now, not asking for your opinions. If you have the ability, use it in the confrontation and make sure you won't be a pig-like teammate. Now, both sides are ready, and the game will start soon. Seeing that Master Zhuan seemed to be about to lose his temper, Ma Ateo and Yao Haoxun didn't dare to say anything anymore. They returned to the team angrily and began to retreat. In the process of retreating, although Ma Ateo felt unconvinced, he still looked at Dai Yu Heng on the opposite side with a high spirit. But Dai Yu Heng's attention was not on Ma Ateo at this time. He squinted his eyes and looked at Dai Yun's who was standing at the back of the opposite side from a distance. Chapter 496 Risking It All. Dai Yu Heng had been keeping an eye on Dai Yun's since he showed up at the Soul Fighting Arena. Dai Yu Heng didn't know why Dai Yun's showed up here. After all, there was no Dai Yun's in the selected reserve team. Even though Elder Zhuan didn't say it explicitly, Dai Yu Heng could guess something based on what he said at the beginning. Naturally, he cared more about Dai Yun's, and coupled with the previous competition with Dai Yun's, Dai Yu Heng secretly decided to eliminate Dai Yun's as soon as possible. Although he was also shocked by Dai Yun's current Soul Sect level, his own Soul Emperor level was there, and he didn't think he would lose to Dai Yun's this time. As for Yao Haoxun, who had also spoken just now, he retreated while complaining, I have to be a pig again this time. It can be said that he looked very heartless. Dai Yun's, who was being thought of by many people, was not idle at this time. The sudden action by Master Zhuan really caught him off guard. He originally thought that he could just slack off and not participate in the battle between the two generations of Shrek, 7 Devils. As for the training, Dai Yun's initially thought that he would be assigned some difficult tasks alone, but now, looking at the backs of the seniors in front of him, Dai Yun's felt that it was not good. In his mind, the young man's seemingly calm warning echoed over and over again. Even though he was very careful, the timeline still spread in another direction because of him. Now, he can only hope that this is just a green-level timeline deviation and will not affect the main timeline. Dai Yun's eyes were depressed, thinking that he could slack off in the battle later, and try to reduce the possibility of further deviation of the timeline, even if others would be dissatisfied. Compared with these things, his own dog life is more important. Thinking of this, Dai Yun's was about to feel relieved and was about to focus on the upcoming battle, when Elder Zhuan suddenly said, by the way, Dai Yun's, you must give it your all. If you lose, you will suffer the consequences. This sentence was undoubtedly the last straw that broke the camel's back. Dai Yun's looked even more depressed. With his handsome face that was somewhat sinister due to the gradual strengthening of his second martial spirit, the god-devouring evil-eye white demon tiger, he actually looked like a blue-toned melancholy male god. At this moment, he didn't care about the team members and opponents who had different expressions because of Elder Zhuan's words just now. He was just worried about whether the timeline would be completely deviated, and whether he would be completely explained here today. Until Elder Zhuan announced the start of the game, Dai Yun's had not recovered from the emotion in his heart, but just mechanically followed the people in front of him to rush to the center of the venue. When he remembered that the plot of the original novel was that Yu Hao's team won, he became a little more energetic. At this point, there is no way to save it. The only way is to find a way not to destroy the plot, let the plot continue in the original direction, and reduce the possibility of the timeline completely deviating. So, if he still loses to Yu Hao in the end, does it mean that the timeline has returned to the end? Thinking of this, Dai Yun was slightly angry, and the fear and anxiety that he had felt before suddenly turned into a surge of malice. It was like a person who is extremely angry, and then suddenly punched the source of anger, and felt a little relieved, and the anger was vented. Surprisingly, Dai Yun felt a little addicted. As of this time, the situation on the field was that on Dai Yun's side, Mazaya Ateo and Bibai, who were strong attack-type combat spirit masters, rushed to the front of the team one after another, and formed a confrontation with Dai Yuheng and Chen Zifeng on the opposite side. Yao Haoxun, who also had control and auxiliary abilities, was in the center of the team, just like Ling Lujin, the main control spirit master on Dai Yuheng's side. Zixi, a quick attack spirit master, turned into purple lightning, hiding around Bibai, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Like her, Jiang Nanan, also a quick attack spirit master, followed closely behind Chen Zifeng in their team. Although she had no expression on her face, if anyone was entangled by her, even a spirit king would find it difficult to resist her combo. On Dai Yuheng's side, Yu Hao, Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao were at the back of the team, while Su Sanchi, a defensive spirit master, was responsible for protecting their safety. As for the back of Mazaya Ateo's side, it was naturally Gong Yangmo, the auxiliary spirit king with the rainbow dragon spirit, and Dai Yun who joined in at the end. As for the fourth-level spirit mentor He Ke Tao, he had a similar role to Su Sanchi, that is, he was responsible for protecting Gong Yangmo flying in the sky. Of course, in He Ke Tao's view, Dai Yun, the new junior, was also within his protection range. In short, in the first few seconds before Master Zhuan announced the start of the game, everyone on the field maintained this formation and kept approaching each other. It was not until the moment when Dai Yun suddenly figured it out and decided to go all out that things changed. Mazaya Ateo, who was at the forefront, felt her eyes dazzled, as if something flashed past her quickly and went straight to Dai Yuheng, who was at the forefront. When she looked closely, she felt horrified and puzzled, because the back was Dai Yun's. How dare he go directly to Dai Yuheng? Even though he had reached the level of soul sect at a young age, Dai Yuheng was a real soul emperor. Even if he was talented, the gap between the two soul rings could not be made up. So at that moment, Mazaya Ateo, the captain, shouted at Dai Yun's back, "Dai Yun, come back." It was unknown whether Dai Yun did not hear her or simply did not want to pay attention to her. Even though Mazaya Ateo had shouted at the top of her voice, Dai Yun still did not react at all and continued to rush towards Dai Yuheng without hesitation. Seeing this, Mazaya Ateo could only grit her teeth, then speed up and chase after Dai Yun, ready to fight against Dai Yuheng with him. After all, Dai Yun was now one of her team members. As the captain, she had to ensure the safety of every team member. This was her responsibility, even if it was just an ordinary competition. As for Dai Yun himself, he certainly heard Mazaya Ateo's shouting, but he was a little emotional and not very rational at the moment, so he ignored it. Moreover, on the surface, he rushed towards Dai Yuheng, but his actual target was Chen Zifeng, who was not far behind Dai Yuheng. Of course, if this was a real fight, he should have eliminated the three with the weakest cultivation, Yu Hao, first. However, his few remaining rationalities told him that if he did that, the timeline would most likely deviate unpredictably. So he settled for the next best thing, following his instinct, and locked his target on Chen Zifeng. As for the reason for choosing this Soul King, perhaps it was because he smelled blood on Chen Zifeng, which just stimulated his second martial soul, the god-devouring evil-eye white demon tiger. The author has closed the school for a month. As the epidemic is rebounding today, friends in risk areas must pay attention to protective measures. See you tomorrow at the same time. I really hope I can come up with the ability to write dozens of chapters, Line Corpse, once again. I will definitely do it in the next book. Chapter 497 Siege. On the other side, Dai Yuheng looked at Dai Yun who was rushing towards him, and a fierce light flashed in his eyes. He felt that Dai Yun was too arrogant. Did he think that the method he used last time would work on him this time? The White Tiger Soul Emperor secretly used his soul power to protect his fragile eyes, ears, mouth and nose to prevent himself from falling over like last time. When Dai Yuheng saw the silver-white electric light gradually jumping in Dai Yun's palms, he was more certain that Dai Yun wanted to repeat his old trick, and he felt more and more disdainful. But no matter how much contempt Dai Yuheng had in his heart, he did not show it on his face. He just watched Dai Yun approaching steadily until Dai Yun was very close to him and could no longer avoid him. He suddenly opened his mouth and spit out a mouthful of White Tiger Fierce Light Wave towards Dai Yun. Because Zhuan Lao was watching on the side, Dai Yuheng did not hold back at all. Although the White Tiger Fierce Light Wave was only his second soul skill, the power contained in it was enough to seriously injure Dai Yun. At least, that's what he thought. Looking at Dai Yun, who was about to be hit by his White Tiger Fierce Light Wave, Dai Yuheng couldn't help but sneer in his heart. Although I don't know why you can join Master Zhuan's special training team when the Shrek 7 devils are already full, but now, why are you eliminated? In terms of cultivation talent alone, Dai Yuheng is even worse than Dai Hulbin, but Dai Yuheng's scheming and calmness are incomparable to Dai Hulbin. This may also be due to age and experience, but it can't change the fact that his White Tiger Fierce Light Wave finally landed in the empty space. All this happened very quickly, but it is not difficult to understand for those who are interested. Dai Yun's target was not Dai Yuheng, but Chen Zifen behind Dai Yuheng from beginning to end. But if he wants to attack Chen Zifen, he must bypass Dai Yuheng in front. So for Dai Yun, how can he attack Chen Zifen in the first place and quickly bypass Dai Yuheng without being affected by him? That was naturally when he was within 5 meters of Chen Zifen. He activated his special ability and flashed in front of Chen Zifen. Coincidentally, when Dai Yuheng decided to attack Dai Yun, it was also when Dai Yun was within 5 meters of Chen Zifen. Naturally, Dai Yuheng's White Tiger Fierce Light Wave, which had been accumulating power for a long time, could not hit Dai Yun, who had already prepared to dodge. But to say that this was completely a coincidence, that was not the case, because Dai Yun, who had a fighting instinct, had activated mental detection the moment he decided to rush forward. With the ability to predict the enemy's moves through mental detection, plus the speed of the special ability to flash, Dai Yuheng's attack could not hit Dai Yun anyway. While Dai Yuheng was surprised, Dai Yun also came to Chen Zifen as he wished. With a wave of his hand, the lightning in his palm snaked out, piercing Chen Zifen's face like a 3-foot-long sword. Chen Zifen didn't understand why Dai Yun suddenly appeared in front of him, but the solid foundation of the inner courtyard disciples was still there. He raised his martial soul, the soul-chasing sword, calmly, ready to block Dai Yun's attack. Even though Dai Yun showed extraordinary speed, he only had 4 soul rings on his body. Even if the color ratio was beyond ordinary people, this was why Chen Zifen didn't take him too seriously. He was full of confidence that he had blocked Dai Yun's attack and was about to counterattack, but he overlooked one thing, that is, Dai Yun was not swinging a real sword at this time, but a deadly lightning. The lightning suddenly turned at the point where it connected with a cold weapon. From the outside, it seemed as if Chen Zifen was about to cut off the lightning with his soul-chasing sword. But this was not the case. Chen Zifen did not feel any collision with his soul-chasing sword, that is, he did not block Dai Yun's attack. The lightning bypassed the soul-chasing sword that Chen Zifen held horizontally in front of him and continued to stab him in the face. In horror, Chen Zifen had to retreat immediately to avoid the attack. All his means of attack were on the soul-chasing sword in his hand. His own defense ability was very weak, and he did not dare to confront the lightning head-on. When he retreated like this, their formation was also messed up. The first person to be affected was Jiang Nanan, who was hiding beside Chen Zifen. Seeing Chen Zifen being repelled, Jiang Nanan had to dodge to the side to prevent Chen Zifen from hitting her. That would not only disrupt Chen Zifen's rhythm, but also give Dai Yun the opportunity to kill with one blow. As a smart teammate who was assisted by the shared spiritual detection, Jiang Nanan obviously did not only need to not interfere with teammates. At this time, she directly bullied herself and prepared to entangle Dai Yun's first to buy reaction time for Chen Zifen so that she could launch a pincer attack on Dai Yun's at the same time. Considering that Dai Yun's had the ability to dodge, in order to catch up with him, Jiang Nanan also used a similar ability, her third soul skill, instant transfer. The beautiful figure disappeared instantly, and when it reappeared, it was already where Dai Yun's was before. Why is it the place where Dai Yun's was before? Because at the moment when Jiang Nanan used instant transfer, Dai Yun's also launched an instant body at the same time, so naturally, Jiang Nanan could only pounce on nothing. Although Dai Yun's is emotional now, he is not stupid. The mental detection has been turned on. He knows what Jiang Nanan wants to do, so he naturally can't let her succeed. Moreover, subconsciously, he also thinks that Jiang Nanan is a trouble, and he will try not to touch her if he can. Until now, his target is still only Chen Zifeng. However, although Jiang Nanan did not succeed, this extra flash did delay a little time, not only allowing Chen Zifeng to react and start counterattacking, but also allowing Dai Yuhang, who was originally in the front, to approach. At the same time, the attacks of Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao, who were at the back, followed. Unknowingly, Dai Yun's has fallen into the opponent's encirclement, and the situation is extremely dangerous for a while. If Dai Yun's was still sober, he would definitely realize that now was a perfect time to admit defeat and stop paddling. With the strong support of Hou Yuhao, he could also let this competition go on as in the original book. But he was emotional at the moment, so facing this situation, his eyes were dark, and people couldn't tell what he was thinking at the moment. His whole body was revealing a dangerous signal. Xiao Xiao's three live soul calming cauldrons surrounded him like a horn. The cauldron shook and the cauldron's vibration were fully launched, intending to interfere with his instant body, and the large area of butterfly god's light covered him. In addition, Chen Zifeng and Jiang Nanan were watching closely beside him, and Dai Yuhang was gradually approaching from behind. No matter how you look at it, Dai Yun's escape is unlikely, and it seems that he will definitely be eliminated. Chapter 498 Teleportation can be used for more than just. In order to further force Dai Yun's and not give him any time to react, Chen Zifeng in front not only slashed a sword energy filled with a breath of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood at him, but also threw the soul-chasing sword immediately after the sword energy. Seeing this, Dai Yuhang behind him immediately spit out a white tiger fierce light wave at Dai Yun's, and this time it was a white tiger fierce light wave after the addition of the white tiger body barrier and the white tiger diamond transformation. Being caught in the crossfire of various powerful attacking soul skills, Dai Yun's face did not show any panic, and he even seemed to have no intention of avoiding it. With a bang, all the soul skills collided and exploded where Dai Yun's was standing. Ma Xiaotao, who was already close to Dai Yuhang, shrank his pupils. After the soul skill light dissipated, there was no trace of Dai Yun's. Could it be that he had been rescued from the competition venue by Zhuan Lao and eliminated? The 8 people in Dai Yuhang's team looked up at the same time and looked into the sky. Because under the spiritual detection that enveloped the surroundings, they found Dai Yun's trace at the first time. In the sky. At the moment of the attack, Dai Yun's chose to fly into the sky, perfectly avoiding this fatal situation. At the same time, he also began his counterattack. He waved his hand, and several silver-white snakes of electricity shot out, accurately finding everyone below, and hitting the vital points. How fast is the speed of light? At least, no one dares to bet now. So when they saw Dai Yun's waving his hand, they all started to use their soul power to defend themselves, intending to block this attack first. But at the moment when they all took defensive postures, Hou Yuhao, who was in control of the whole scene in the back, suddenly changed his expression, and with a sharing of spirit, the others also changed color. Because the lightning that was previously flying towards everyone suddenly disappeared the next moment, and all flew towards one person. And that person was Chen Zifeng. Under the effect of shared mental detection, Chen Zifeng also saw this scene, but it was too late for him to defend himself with all his strength, because a total of 8 deadly lightnings flew from his defenseless back. How did he do it? When being pulled out of the venue by Zhuan Lao, Chen Zifeng's mind still echoed with this sentence. This attack method that made him difficult to understand was not difficult for Dai Yun's himself. He just sent a lightning to another location and let it continue to fly. Even in the situation where he was besieged by almost everyone in the place, his target did not change. It was still Chen Zifeng alone, which could be said to be quite dedicated. Now that the target has been killed, Dai Yun's target of hatred naturally needs to be transferred again. At present, Dai Yuhang on the field is the target that he instinctively wants to temporarily avoid, even though he subconsciously wants to beat Dai Yuhang up. Hou Yuhao, Wang Donghao and Xiao Xiao in the back are not among his hatred targets, and Ling Lujin, who is very close to the 3 of them, is also temporarily excluded by Dai Yun's. Naturally, when Dai Yun's determined that Chen Zifeng was eliminated and was still in the air before he could fall, he determined his next target. That was Su Sanchi. Perhaps it was because Su Sanchi had caused trouble for Hou Hao before, so he was chosen as the second target by Daiyuns, who was in a negative mood. On the other side, Su Sanchi, who was targeted by Daiyuns, suddenly felt cold all over, as if he was being targeted by a ferocious soul beast in the wild. He silently raised the Zuanming tortoiseshell shield in his hand, and almost shrank behind the shield. After determining the target, Daiyuns wanted not to give his opponent a chance to react. While they were still in a state of surprise of just losing a teammate, he immediately launched another attack. But at this time, Ma Xiaotao finally came behind Dai Yuheng and launched an attack on him. Although Dai Yuheng quickly reacted, resisted her attack and pushed her out. Of course, Ma Xiaotao's purpose was not to fight with Dai Yuheng. After being knocked out by Dai Yuheng, she looked up at Daiyuns in the air and shouted, "Daiyuns, come back!" At this moment, Daiyuns was about to teleport over to attack Su Sanchi. Daiyuns paused in the air, as if he had realized something, but his expression was still gloomy, and he had obviously not completely recovered from his emotional state. But Ma Xiaotao's shout just now was not without effect. Daiyuns had given up attacking Su Sanchi, and suddenly teleported behind the now defenseless Dai Yuheng, and kicked Dai Yuheng with a back kick, which actually made him stumble. Ma Xiaotao, who was right in front of Dai Yuheng, could not miss such a good opportunity, and then threw a phoenix roaring sky strike at Dai Yuheng. The hot phoenix fire gushed out from the ground. If Dai Yuheng had not kept the two major body protection skills of White Tiger Body Barrier and White Tiger Vajra Transformation, he might have been immediately judged by Zhuan Lao as unable to continue the game and eliminated. In any case, Ma Xiaotao's cultivation has reached level 67, which is very close to Soul Saint, and 3 levels higher than Dai Yuheng. It's 7-7 now. Ma Xiaotao was not excited for long before she was startled by a voice behind her. Looking back, she saw Daiyuns walking over. Obviously, he didn't know when he teleported behind Ma Xiaotao and chose to leave the previous battle. Looking at Daiyuns who walked to her side, Ma Xiaotao first expressed her dissatisfaction. "Why are you so elusive? But seeing that you solved Chen Zifeng so quickly, I won't pursue the problem of your previous unauthorized actions and disobedience." Daiyuns just glanced at her and didn't say much. Then his attention was attracted by Dai Yuheng in front. The other party just emerged from the dissipated firelight. The hair after the martial spirit possessed him seemed a little charred at this time. It seemed that even if he blocked Ma Xiaotao's attack just now, he would not feel well. Daiyuns' guess was not wrong. Dai Yuheng was indeed injured by Feng Huang's Ocean. But what surprised him even more was that Daiyuns had the strength to kick him after he was strengthened by the White Tiger Body Barrier and the White Tiger Vajra Transformation. It was obviously very extraordinary. Dai Yuheng's eyes darkened. He knew that the little brother in front of him, who was using his martial soul but had no trace of martial soul possession, was actually a genius with twin martial souls. But no matter how talented Daiyuns was, his strength was definitely not as good as that of himself, the White Tiger Soul Emperor. But it was also a fact that Daiyuns had just made him suffer a great loss. From this point of view, either Daiyuns' White Tiger martial soul that he had not seen yet had been attached with more than one powerful soul ring, or he had at least one power-type soul bone. This is today's share. Thank you all for your recommendation votes. See you tomorrow. Complaint: the author is dragging his feet again. The battle between the two sides should have been written in 2 chapters, but now it has at least 5 chapters. I thought I could immediately write about the evil spirit master in Mingdao Mountain Range and start the important plot that reflects Daiyuns' psychological conflict, but it seems too early. Is it because each chapter only has 2,000 words, unwilling to face JPG? Chapter 499 Malice. No matter which speculation it was, Dai Yuheng felt it was incredible. How many secrets did Daiyuns have? If he really had a soul bone, where did he get it from? You know, even Dai Yuheng, the eldest son of the Duke of White Tiger and the first heir to the Duke's mansion in the future, only had one soul bone on him now. This was because he had cultivated to the Soul Emperor at a young age and had made meritorious contributions. Now, Daiyuns, who was 8 years younger than him, had actually obtained the same or even more cultivation resources as him. Could it be that his father really valued this youngest son who appeared inexplicably halfway? In a short moment, Dai Yuheng thought of many things, and his eyes became more and more fearful when he looked at Daiyuns. At the same time, an evil idea quietly sprouted in his heart. Although Dai Huoben's cultivation talent was higher than his, he was his biological brother after all. Apart from suppressing Dai Huoben as an elder brother, he could not do anything to Dai Huoben. But Dai Yun's was different. Although in name, he was also the child of the Duke and Duchess of White Tiger, and was his and Dai Huoben's brother. But that was only in name, wasn't it? Although Dai Yuheng didn't know Dai Yun's true background, he could guess it. You can't do anything to your biological brothers, but it's different for a child born out of wedlock like Dai Yun's. For example, in this era when there was absolutely no peace outside, some accidents suddenly happened. When Dai Yuheng had this thought in his mind, Dai Yun's, who was standing not far away from him, seemed to feel something, and his eyes suddenly fell on Dai Yuheng, and then he grinned with an unclear meaning. Dai Yuheng didn't notice it, because it was in the middle of the game. Time passed quickly, and everything just now happened in just a few seconds. At this time, the other members of Ma Xiaoteo's team also caught up, and their spirit skills were ready to be used. They all looked at him eagerly, ready to pounce on him at any time. Of course, the members of Dai Yuheng's team were not idle either. Seeing that Chen Zifeng and Dai Yuheng had lost in the confrontation, and Dai Yuheng almost followed in Chen Zifeng's footsteps and was eliminated, Hou Yuhao, who was at the back, directly changed his tactics and conveyed his ideas through spiritual detection sharing. Afterwards, he and Wang Dong moved quickly behind Ling Luqian, apparently preparing to upgrade Ling Luqian's ice element martial spirit to the extreme ice level, and then use Ling Luqian's Soul King cultivation to crush Ma Xiaoteo. Undoubtedly, the Soul King level ultimate ice is very difficult to deal with, and Dai Yun's can't think of any good way to fight against it. Even if they have Ma Xiaoteo on their side, Ma Xiaoteo's Phoenix Flame is still impure, far inferior to the level of ultimate fire, and can't suppress the ultimate ice at all. Instead, it will be suppressed by the ultimate ice. In the original work, Ma Xiaoteo suffered a great loss from the ultimate ice. If Hou Yuhao needs a certain amount of time to help others improve their ice attribute martial spirits to the ultimate level, then Dai Yun's has enough speed to stop it, but this is not the case. Hou Yuhao's improvement of others' martial spirits is almost instantaneous. He only needs to transfer the ultimate of the Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion to others. Therefore, when the dark blue frost ring appeared on the scene and the temperature dropped sharply, even if Ma Xiaoteo and Dai Yun's wanted to do something, it was too late. When the extreme coldness enveloped the whole place, Dai Yun suddenly shuddered, and all the emotions on his mind disappeared at this moment. His reason regained the upper hand, and he also realized what he had done before. He was a little headache because of the current situation, and he couldn't help rubbing the Jingming point at the corner of his eye. Fortunately, the extreme coldness of ice made him sober up, otherwise it would cause a greater impact and be completely troublesome. But now is not the time to worry about these things, because Ma Xiaoteo has already pulled him to retreat rapidly. There is no other reason, because Dai Yuheng has already used the White Tiger Meteor Shower with the help of mental detection, just as written in the original book, to imitate the precise strikes that Ma Xiaoteo had used on them before. Among the White Tiger Meteor Shower that kept falling in the sky, a large part of them rushed towards him and Ma Xiaoteo, which is why Ma Xiaoteo took him and retreated rapidly. No matter how fast Ma Xiaoteo is now, she can't be faster than the meteor shower falling from the sky, so she took Dai Yun's back while using her soul skills to destroy all the approaching meteors. Unfortunately, there are too many meteors, and Ma Xiaoteo can't handle them all at once, so there will be 2 or 3 slippery fish rushing towards Dai Yun's beside her. Although this White Tiger Meteor Shower was created by Dai Yuheng, who is at the Soul Emperor level, even if it is only the opponent's 4th soul skill, the power contained in it should not be underestimated. Of course, Dai Yun's doesn't need to fight these meteors head-on. He just moved his mind and used the power of space to change the direction of those meteors that are 5 meters away from him, so that they return to the original path and destroy other meteors that follow closely behind. Dai Yun's doesn't know how much soul power Dai Yuheng will consume with this move. Anyway, his soul power consumption is definitely less than Dai Yuheng, so he is not afraid of more meteors. Ma Xiaoteo was also quite surprised to see Dai Yun's move, so she gave up resisting the incoming meteors and left it to Dai Yun's. She just led Dai Yun's to retreat at full speed, intending to leave the influence range of Ling Luqian's ice ring as soon as possible. Under the influence of the extremely low temperature around her, the phoenix flame on her body was obviously much weaker. If it weren't for her strong cultivation, it would have been extinguished. Dai Yun's mental detection was still effective, So he naturally discovered earlier than Ateo that under the dual influence of the extreme ice and the white tiger meteor shower, the other teammates behind them were almost unable to resist. Seeing this, Dai-yun sighed lightly, and then said to Ateo beside him, "This won't work, it's too passive." Ateo said unhappily, "Do you think I don't know? But with a Soul King level ultimate ice here, my Phoenix Flame can't play much of a role. What can I do?" Then she looked fiercely in the direction of Hoyuheo opposite. "It's all Hoyuheo's fault. Wait and see how I'm going to deal with him later." Dai-yun's couldn't help but hold his forehead, shook his head, and said, "Forget it. Let's deal with this meteor shower in the sky first." He glanced at Ateo. "Use your Phoenix meteor shower." Chapter 500, End of the Confrontation. Hearing this, Ateo was stunned for a moment, and then guessed what Dai-yun was thinking, and said, "You want me to use Phoenix meteor shower to intercept Dai Hang's white tiger meteor shower? That's impossible. It takes too much mental energy to achieve accurate interception. I haven't practiced to that level yet, unless you also." Before she finished speaking, she saw the fourth soul ring on Dai-yun's body flickering, and then she was stunned. The sentence that Ateo didn't finish was, "Unless you also have a soul skill like spiritual detection sharing," but spiritual attribute soul masters are not that common, and it is even more impossible to have the same soul skills as Hoyuheo. But feeling the suddenly wider vision, Ateo was really speechless. Dai-yun smiled slightly and said, "I haven't introduced myself thoroughly yet. My martial soul is eyes. I am a spiritual attribute strong attack system soul master." As he spoke, Dai-yun's fourth soul skill, spiritual invasion, also connected to the others behind him one after another. Suddenly, with a familiar spiritual detection, the others were also stunned. The first thing they did was to look at Dai-yun, who was at the front like Ateo. Although Dai-yun's spiritual detection range was not as good as Hoyuheo's, it was enough to cover the entire range of the two sides on the field. Naturally, the trajectory of each meteor flying in the sky was also calculated by the spiritual detection. Next, without Dai-yun saying much, the last black soul ring on Ateo's body lit up. With a loud phoenix cry on the field, the sky turned into a blazing red, and it actually forced the ice blue on the field back a little. The next moment, large pieces of fiery red meteors fell from the sky, accurately hitting each white tiger meteor shower and perishing with it. Since Ateo released her soul skills later than Dai Hang, and had destroyed many white tiger meteors before, a considerable part of the Phoenix meteor shower flew towards the back of the opposite side at this time, and it was obvious who the target was. Ateo knew very well that if they still wanted to win, they had to get rid of the extreme cold that was now covering the field, otherwise their fighting power would continue to decline in this biting cold, and they would eventually lose. Although the severe cold that was now covering the field was caused by Ling Lujin, if Hoyuheo had not helped her improve her martial spirit level, Ateo would not be afraid of her ice element at all. Therefore, as long as Hoyuheo could be eliminated, there would be nothing that could threaten them in this round. It was also amazing that in an elite competition within Shrek Academy, the one who decided the outcome of both sides was actually a second-year second-ring Great Spirit Master from the outer courtyard. Of course, all this was only under the premise that this was just a competition. If it was a fight that was really desperate, Hoyuheo would most likely be the first to die, and Ateo would not give him the opportunity to show his strength. After all, the true strength of this fire demon had already been revealed outside Shrek City that day. Let's talk about the battle. Dai Hang watched his white tiger meteor shower being accurately shot down one by Ateo, and found it a little difficult to understand. He was able to accurately control the trajectory of each white tiger meteor shower because of Hoyuheo's spiritual detection assistance, but now Hoyuheo was clearly on his side, so how did Ateo do it? For some reason, Dai Hang's eyes fell on Dai-yun's again. Although he was not sure, his intuition told him that it must be related to Dai-yun's. The negative emotions in his heart became more intense, and he seemed to have made up his mind. On the other side, as the target of most of the Phoenix meteor shower, Hoyuheo was still calm at this time. Although there were many meteors falling towards him, he still had Su Sanchi by his side, so he didn't need to worry for the time being. Although Su Sanchi's current cultivation level was a bit different from Ateo, and he suffered a little loss under Ateo's Phoenix meteor shower during the first battle, don't forget that at this time, there was also Soul King Ling Lujin, who is already the ultimate controller of ice elements, near him. The first 4 soul rings on Ling Luchen's body flickered one after another. The staff made of ice crystals in his hand pointed at the phoenix meteor falling from the sky. The terrifying extreme coldness surged out, weakening the heat contained in the phoenix meteor layer by layer. Finally, it was blocked by Su Sanchi's mysterious nether tortoise shield. The phoenix meteor weakened by the extreme ice no longer had much power, so Su Sanchi could easily resist it. He was standing in front of Ling Luchen at this time. The mysterious nether tortoise shield grew large enough to completely cover him and Ling Luchen behind him, as well as Hou Hao, Wang Dong, and Xiao Xiao. He held the shield in one hand and put the other hand on his waist. He said in a somewhat arrogant way, "Hey, Sister Xiao Atao's phoenix meteor shower is not that good, but I still blocked it all." Xiao Xiao, who was standing at the end, couldn't help but complain, "Senior Su, you were blown up by Senior Xiao Atao's phoenix meteor shower in the last game." The implication was, "How dare you?" Su Sanchi had no self-awareness at all. "Last time doesn't count. I was injured that time because I was trying to save my beloved Non. Xiao Xiao said that as long as you're happy, just be careful not to be hurt by Senior Xiao Tao. While the two of them were talking, Ling Luchen, the main soul master of the team, was not idle either. With a wave of his ice staff, 7 ice prisons were generated above the heads of the 7 people on the opposite side, and then fell down quickly. Yao Haoxun and Hike Tao, who were slow, were immediately imprisoned in the ice prison. Zixi and Bibai reacted quickly and dodged, while Gong Yangmo was able to dodge easily because he was always in a flying state. Even Ma Xia Ateo didn't have time to dodge and was imprisoned in the ice prison. Dai Yuns did not dodge, but the next moment the ice prison imprisoned him, he teleported out. This ordinary method of imprisonment could not restrict him at all. What made him feel strange was why Ma Xia Ateo failed to dodge. With Ma Xia Ateo's reaction speed and his ability to detect the enemy's advance through his spirit, she shouldn't have been hit. But thinking about the original plot, Ma Xia Ateo was imprisoned in the ice prison for quite a long time, and now she was also caught by the ice prison. Perhaps this was supposed to be the case, which is the so-called world line convergence. Seeing this scene, Dai Yuns also understood that it was time to admit defeat and leave, otherwise if he continued, it was very likely that the timeline would be completely deviated. But how could he admit defeat without anyone noticing? After all, before the start of this competition, Zhuanlao had warned him specifically. Thinking of this, Dai Yuns put down his raised hand and gave up the idea of teleporting Ma Xia Ateo out. Then the next moment, he was frozen into an ice sculpture by the ice ring that followed, unable to move. There was no suspense in the subsequent battle. At the moment when Dai Yuns deliberately let himself be frozen, the teammates who were still able to move on the field also found that the spirit detection shared with them before disappeared. Without the help of the magical skill of spiritual detection, and Ma Xia Ateo's inability to break free from the control of the ice prison, they lost their most powerful sharp knife, and finally had no choice but to be defeated one by Dai Yuhang and his team. After the outcome of the battle was determined, Zhuanlao appeared on the field, and after removing the extreme ice restraints on Ma Xia Ateo, Dai Yuns and others, he announced the victory of Dai Yuhang's team. The loser should fulfill his promise. Zhuanlao looked at the people on Ma Xia Ateo's side and said with a smile. Ma Xia Ateo glared at Hou Hao fiercely, "Just wait. I'm a pig." Dai Yuns, who had just thawed, shook his arms to relieve the cold stiffness, and then said emotionlessly, "I'm a pig." The remaining people could only shout helplessly. After shouting, Dai Yuns couldn't help but look in the direction of Zhuanlao with some trepidation. After all, before the game started, Zhuanlao had specifically reminded him. Now that he lost the game, how would Zhuanlao deal with him? Moreover, Zhuanlao should not have noticed that he was frozen on purpose, right? Of course, no matter how nervous he was, the result of the competition was still the same as the original, so the timeline should not have been disturbed or deviated. When Dai Yuns thought of this, he felt that even if Zhuanlao would trouble him later, it would not be a big deal. However, until Zhuanlao announced the disbandment and gathered at the gate of the academy to set off for Xingluo City tomorrow morning, Dai Yuns did not wait for the good fruit prepared by Zhuanlao for him. He did not feel fortunate, but just felt very strange. Can a person like Zhuanlao take back his words casually? If not, why didn't Zhuanlao come to him? Dai Yuns just felt that something was very wrong. It seemed that he had thought of something, but he couldn't see it clearly. In the end, He could only let it go and return to the dormitory to rest. After all, he would set off for Xingluo City tomorrow, which meant that he would soon meet the White Tiger Duke again. But this meeting would definitely be different from the past. Because at that time, Yu Hao would also be there. Thinking of this, Dai-Yun's was really in a headache and could only let it go. Perhaps, it would be better to make some things clear from the beginning. But if Yu Hao knew about the deal he had made with the Duchess, could he really forgive himself? No matter what, it was he who abandoned him and his mother Hoyuner first. Since there is not much plot left in the competition, if the volume is maintained at 2,000 words per chapter, there will be about a few hundred words left in the next chapter. And the next chapter will not be released until tomorrow. The author thinks that it may affect the viewing experience, so the ending of the competition is all put into this chapter, and the final word count is close to 3,000 words. The author also thought about posting 3 chapters today, but the next plot stage is divided again, and the break is a bit abrupt, so the author still chooses to put the new plot stage at the beginning of the next chapter. This chapter is the end of the confrontation game. It is definitely not the author who feels painful and stressed when seeing the number of words in the manuscript suddenly decrease if 3 chapters are released. It is definitely not like that, lying dead. In addition, the author feels that this confrontation game has not been written to its full potential. For example, when the author was typing, he thought several times about adding Guang Yangmo and Yao Heoxuan's soul skills to assist everyone, and Biba Yi and Zixi were also supposed to have a plot against Ai Yu Hang, but he forgot it soon after he thought of it, and then thought about it again when he finished writing. He wanted to add it back but felt it was a bit redundant, so he decided to delete it. Thank you all for your recommendation votes and monthly ticket support. See you tomorrow. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.